Chapter 174, Continental Tournament for Hegemony start. After Lu Mu Yen stepped into the teleportation array, a gentle light enveloped them. Their vision blackened, then after an unknown length of time, the several people landed onto another teleportation array. What entered the eye after exiting the teleportation array was an open ground. There were already many people gathered, but they all occupied a place to themselves, forming small groups. It could be seen that they were sword masters from different kingdoms. Let's also go find a place to rest and wait. Yunzi Mo looked around, then pointed to an empty space and said, "All right." After the few people sat down, the 5 teleportation arrays in the assembly point kept flickering, then sword masters wearing different styles of clothing walked out in groups. There sure are many people participating, and this is just one of the 10 teleportation points. Yunlan roughly scanned the crowd within the assembly point, and there were at least several thousand people based on a visual estimation. This is a grand event of the entire continent, so it's understandable that so many people came. Qi Yi Xian said. Lu Mu Yen looked at the people who came out of the teleportation arrays, then shrugged helplessly, saying, "One more thing. Their cultivation bases aren't low. I should be at the bottom again." The several people couldn't help smiling when they heard her words. Yunlan said, "Actually, your cultivation base is a type of cover. If anyone who doesn't have eyes wants to bully you, they'd definitely kick an iron plate." After all, they all knew that although Lu Mu Yen was only middle phase Sword King cultivation base, but she had the ability to challenge sword monarchs. Not only is your cultivation base at the bottom, but our cultivation bases aren't at all on the top in comparison either. Yunzi Mo's indifferent eyes fluctuated a few times. Among the 6, Yunzi Mo had the highest cultivation base as he had just broken through to Sword Monarch cultivation base a month ago, followed by Lu Mu Bai and Fu Qin, both being peak phase Sword King cultivation base. Yunlan and Qi Yi Xian had both advanced to advanced phase Sword King, and only Lu Mu Yen remained at middle phase Sword King. During the 2 months of her seclusion, if she wasn't comprehending the water attribute law, then she was in the blazing mountain range refining her natal magic tool, so she simply had no time to cultivate. "No worries, we'll be able to be ranked in the top 100 when we come out in a year's time," Lu Mu Yen said to the several people with a confident smile on her lips. The 5 people were also infected by her, and they all nodded in agreement. No matter what, they would work hard to enter the top 100. Only after waiting at the assembly point for 3 days did the teleportation array gradually stop, and the number of people teleporting here grew sparse. After another 2 days, the teleportation arrays completely stopped operating. Suddenly, a vortex appeared in the sky above the assembly point and a transparent ball of light fell from it. The ball of light enveloped 5 people, including a middle-aged burly man that was their leader. As soon as the few people landed on the ground, the transparent ball of light that enveloped them disappeared automatically and the burly man swept the surroundings with a sharp gaze. Suddenly, the entire space was so quiet that even if a needle fell to the ground, one could hear it. The man withdrew his gaze in satisfaction and said slowly, "I am the person in charge of assembly point number 8. Next, I will issue an identity tablet. Please keep it well. If you lose it, you will be disqualified from the competition." After he finished speaking, he gestured with a wave to the 4 people behind him. The 4 of them took out an interspatial ring each and brought out several piles of different colored jade tablets from it. Immediately following, the burly man took out a few pieces of jade slips. The 5 of them channeled their elemental energy into the jade slips, and the jade slips instantly flew into the air, landing above the pile of jade tablets. A few beams of light fell from the jade slip and those jade tablets spontaneously flew out in different directions. Finally, the jade tablets fell into the hands of everyone at the assembly point as if having recognized their owners. The burly man continued to speak after seeing that the jade tablets were distributed. "You each spray a breath of essence onto the jade tablet and check whether the words displayed on the jade tablets are your kingdom's name and your own name. If there is a mistake, report it to us immediately." Lu Mu Yen picked up the jade tablet and sprayed a breath of essence. Sure enough, the words Yanzhou Kingdom, Lu Mu Yen were instantly displayed on the smooth jade tablet. She had to sigh with amazement at the power of the organizer. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Seeing that all the participant numbers were distributed correctly, the burly man said again, I believe you all have a question inside, why the jade tablets in your hands have different colors. Lu Muyan's group of 6 were all holding red-colored jade tablets, while there were people holding jade tablets of various other colors at the assembly point. They all had questions inside. Why there were jade tablets of different colors distributed, Yun Sung didn't say at all before they came. As you all know, the rules for each continental tournament for hegemony will change, and the biggest change this time is the color of the jade tablets in your hands. I think you all know that participating in the continental tournament for hegemony means that you will all be sent to an independent space. The mission in the preliminary round is to kill demonic beasts in the space. The more you kill, the more likely you are to enter the second round. The previous competitions were all based on quantity, and this time, the first round is still the same. Then why do you have different colored jade tablets in your hands? Well, that involves the second round of the competition. The second round of the competition is a battle for jade tablets. People who hold tablets of the same color cannot compete with each other within a specified time frame in the beginning. But they can snatch jade tablets from others with different colors, regardless of life or death. Don't think it's strange. This is simply the law of survival on the path of the strong. By the way, let me remind you that there are 7 colors of jade tablets in total. Red, yellow, blue, green, cyan, orange, purple. Those who are qualified to participate in the third round not only must have snatched the most jade tablets, but also have all 7 colors. Now I will give you a quarter of an hour to ask questions. If you have any questions, ask them quickly, then we will send you to the independent competition space. The burly man added lightly. After he finished speaking, a person raised their hand in the open grounds and asked, May I ask, Senior, when we're competing for the qualification for the third round, is there a requirement for the number of jade tablets for each of the 7 colors? There must be 10 purple jade tablets, 30 orange jade tablets, 50 cyan jade tablets, and there are no requirements for the jade tablets of other colors. The burly man replied. Does the color of the jade tablets have any meaning? Another person raised their hand and asked. Of course. The color represents the strength of each kingdom. People holding purple-colored jade tablets represents that they are from a superpower. Following this analogy, the people holding red-colored jade tablets are from some small kingdom of no standing. Lu Muyan looked at the red-colored jade tablet in her hand and the corner of her lips twitched. So it turned out that not only was her cultivation base at the bottom, but even the kingdom she represented was at the bottom. Senior, could we only start snatching jade tablets in the second round? The first round of the competition is 3 months. In the last 10 days of the 3 months, you can start to snatch jade tablets. After all, there will be some people who will be eliminated because they didn't kill enough demonic beasts. Before then, you are not allowed to snatch jade tablets indiscriminately, otherwise you will be disqualified from the competition. Don't take any chances. As long as you violate the rules, you will definitely be disqualified from the competition by the organizer. Afterwards, a few more people asked some questions, then the burly man stopped answering when a quarter of an hour passed. The jade tablet is not only a representation of your status, but all the rankings and information conveyed by the organizer will also be displayed on the jade tablet. You need to pay attention to it at all times. Finally, I would like to remind you all that after the first round of the competition, the top 10 people who killed the most demonic beasts will also be rewarded with jade tablets. That is, the jade tablets from those who have been eliminated, but have yet to have their jade tablets snatched, would be recovered as rewards to give. After reminding them of the last point, the burly man raised his head and shot a cyan light towards a space not far away. In an instant, the space in that area fluctuated ceaselessly, then a huge stone gate fell. The cyan light shone brilliantly, and the gate made a few, rumble, sounds, then gradually opened. I announce that the gate of passage number 8 for the Tianling Continent Tournament of Hegemony is officially open. You can enter in succession. Note, so me being me, I spent way too much time just trying to figure out how to translate, Pi, which I eventually translated as Jade Tablet. I don't know what you guys imagine, but if you copy and paste the Chinese characters into Google Images or Bing etc., any should show the same results. Those are basically what they are. They're basically around the size of a credit card or potentially smaller, but thicker as it's made from jade. Chapter 175. Enter competition space. As soon as the burly man's voice fell, the sword masters who were closest to the cyan light stone gate got up and rushed into it quickly one by one. Seeing this, the rest also didn't want to fall behind and also flew towards it. Ahead, there were even people who fought for the sequence in line. Only after the burly man snorted coldly did they stop. No fighting is allowed at the assembly point, otherwise you will be disqualified from the competition. Lu Mu Yen looked at the densely packed crowd ahead of them speechlessly and said to the five, "Let's go in." After they go in. Will it be too late? Yunlan asked. It's not like we're going in to compete for spiritual items or treasures, so what's the hurry? There's practically no way to kill all the demonic beasts in the space that's been opened up. It's the same whether we go in early or go late. Lu Mu Yen raised an eyebrow and said. Hearing her say this, the few people also felt that it was very reasonable, so they didn't get up. When the people were almost gone did they leap towards the direction of the cyan light stone gate. The burly man observed the only woman among the six, touched his chin and said softly, "Looks like her temperament is good, but her strength is just too weak." Afterwards, he didn't pay much attention either. After Lu Mu Yen and the others entered, he closed the cyan light stone gate and left through the vortex that they had come from with the others. As soon as they landed, Lu Mu Yen found that they were on an uninhabited plain with many low-level demonic beasts wandering around. Yun Zmo took out the jade tablet, channeled a stream of elemental energy into it and used his mental energy to check it. They heard from the imperial teacher that each person's identity number tablet also depicted a general introduction and map of this space. Our current location is half a day away from the nearest city. Withdrawing his mental energy, he said to the several people. Let's hurry up. A beast tide will appear at night. If we don't enter the city to take refuge, we'll be swallowed by the beast tide. Yunlan pressed his lips together and said. The several people didn't dispute either and rushed in one direction. When they encountered low-level demonic beasts, they didn't kill them either. Killing demonic beasts during the preliminary round would give points, and the number of points would also be determined by the level of the demonic beast killed. That was to say, killing 100 Tier 1 demonic beasts was equivalent to killing only 1 Tier 2 demonic beast's points. So naturally there was no need to waste time and energy to deal with low-level demonic beasts. While rushing along, Lu Mu Yen also placed her mental energy into the jade tablet to read the introduction of this place. This space was birthed thousands of years ago. It had many demonic beasts and natural spiritual items. It was ultimately sealed by several almighty of Tianling continent and became the competition grounds for the continental tournament for hegemony. The main reason for choosing this place as the competition grounds for the tournament for hegemony was because there were so many demonic beasts here that they were running rampant. If the number wasn't controlled and limited, then if they broke through the restriction in the future and was let out, then it would become a huge disaster for the human race. It was impossible for high-level powerhouses to come here every 10 or 20 years to deliberately slaughter the demonic beasts, so they eventually came up with making this place a competition ground. In the preliminary round, participants would be required to slay demonic beasts to advance to the next round. This would not only balance the number of demonic beasts in this space, but also train the younger generation of pupils participating in the competition. Moreover, this space was also special. The demonic crystals of the demonic beasts could be directly absorbed without too many side effects, which was also a way to improve the strength of the participants. Many of the spiritual items also hadn't been completely taken away by high-level powerhouses. 3,000 years ago, the organizers prohibited all high-level powerhouses from setting foot here. Only those who participated in the competition every 20 years were allowed to enter. All the spiritual items in this space could be obtained as long as the participating talents had the opportunity, and they didn't need to hand it over to the organizers. This was also why numerous people wanted to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony. Even if their final ranking couldn't reach the top 100, but as long as they had fortuitous encounters and found a few spiritual items to take back, then they definitely wouldn't suffer a loss. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, of course, there were advantages, but there were naturally disadvantages as well. There were all kinds of demonic beasts lurking here, both high and low level, and every night there would also be a beast tide that appears. If they couldn't escape to the refuge cities the organizers built, then they might be devoured by demonic beasts. Moreover, the danger wasn't only from demonic beasts. It wasn't uncommon for humans to kill each other if they simply disagreed, especially situations where sword masters from big kingdoms bullied and oppressed sword masters from small kingdoms being a common occurrence. Snatching demonic beast crystal cores and such incidents were acted out even daily. The organizers didn't stop these behaviors. As long as one entered the competition grounds of the continental tournament for hegemony, life and death was in one's own hands. Therefore, there were countless prodigies who had fallen in this space each time. Of course, the organizers didn't care about the fighting between sword masters, but people were not allowed to seek personal revenge after leaving here. For example, if a sword master from a middle-ranking kingdom killed a genius of a superpower kingdom, then after leaving here, the royal family or the distinguished clans of the superpower kingdom were not allowed to use force to seek revenge from that middle-rank kingdom. If there wasn't such a regulation, then the entire Tianling continent's kingdoms would definitely become involved due to the killings in the competition, and it would become chaos. Of course, not allowing revenge didn't mean that those big kingdoms wouldn't do evil and suppress, so the sword masters of middle and small kingdoms who entered this space rarely took the initiative to provoke people from large kingdoms. Ultimately, opportunities and the danger of death coexisted in this space. Whether one lived or died all depended on one's luck and ability. Under Mo Yan's caution, the 6 of them avoided many low-level demonic beasts. If those tier 3 and above appeared, they would kill a bit, but the rest were all bypassed. Half a day later, they arrived in front of a city which was on the borders of this plain and was backed by a large mountain. Looking at the towering blue-black city wall infused with black iron, Yunzi Mo and the others' expressions couldn't help but change. This city wall is actually made from black iron. Could it be to withstand the demonic beast attacks? Qi Yi Xian couldn't help sucking in a breath. Lu Mu Yen approached and saw many claw marks left on the blue-black iron city wall. Look at the claw marks on the city wall. No wonder this is a refuge city, otherwise it would have long been overwhelmed by the beast tides. The several people also discovered the imprints on the city wall and sighed inwardly that they had underestimated the difficulty of the preliminary round before. Let's go and have a night's rest first and inquire about news along the way. Yunzi Mo saw that the city gate was open, and many young people with varying styles of clothing were walking in. They also entered the city gate. Within the city gate, it wasn't as desolate as imagined, but instead very lively, and there was even a commercial street. There were inns and restaurants on both sides of the commercial street, as well as shops selling pills and spiritual herbs, magic tools, and those that purchased demonic beast corpses and crystal cores. How come there are also shops in here? Yunlan said, puzzled. At each continental tournament for hegemony, the competition will always last for more than a year. I heard that many large forces would set up shops in major refuge cities. 1. They could make money, and 2. They can buy a large number of demonic beast corpses and crystal cores, spiritual items and spiritual herbs, and the like, to bring outside and use it for themselves or make a lot of money. Yunzi Mo's master was the imperial ancestor of Yanzhou Kingdom, so he knew more than others. So that's how it is. These large forces sure know how to make money. The supply for pills here definitely wouldn't meet the demand. Lu Mu Yen rubbed her chin, and her eyes were filled with light. Seeing the sparkle in her eyes, Yunzi Mo said with a light smile, there will be occasional auctions held in several central cities from time to time, the scale of which is no less than the largest auction held in Yanzhou Kingdom last time. There are also auctions here? Is it organized by the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance? Lu Mu Yen blinked, and the figure of the red, devilish, and flamboyant figure appeared in her mind unconsciously. Come true. Chapter 176. You're a fool, there are also auctions here? Is it organized by the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance? Hearing that there was an auction, Lu Muyan's first thought was Ming Xiu by association. Yun Zmo nodded with a smile. If there's no accident, then it's auctions organized and held by the Ming Chamber of Commerce Alliance. It's unlikely for small forces to be able to share a bowl of porridge in this sort of tournament competition field. Then how do we know when the auctions will start? Lu Muyan guessed that Yun Zmo would know. Yun Zmo replied, our identity jade tablet will pass the news. As long as there's any event in this competition field, it will be notified through the jade tablet. So that's how it is. The organizer's power sure is strong. Lu Muyan also had to sigh. To be able to have the ability to set up an array to transmit messages in all jade tablets was not something that ordinary forces could do. The organizer is an association of many top organizations on this continent, so their strength is naturally exceptionally strong. Yun Zmo said. Lu Muyan nodded and asked, should we also find an inn to stay in? Let's find an inn to stay at first and obtain some information along the way. There was a total of 5 inns in this city and the first 4 they walked past were all full, while there just so happened to be 4 rooms in the last one. Except for Lu Muyan, the others could live in 1 room for 2. We want these 4 rooms. Yun Zmo took out a purple crystal card and handed it to the shopkeeper. Lu Muyan swept the inn where people came and went, thinking that it was no wonder the major forces wanted to set up a commercial street in the city. The cost of a night's stay here was 10 times more expensive than the best inn outside, and there might not even be a room left. The teleportation from the assembly point into the competition space was random, and the location after teleporting in was also different. People from each kingdom would line up to teleport together. If they're somewhat lucky, their teleported location wouldn't be far from this city. If one was unlucky, one might have to rush a day's journey to reach the refuge city. Of course, although the teleportation was random and irregular, but it definitely would never teleport them into deep mountains and forests or places far away from the refuge city. Guests, these are the keys to the 4 rooms, please keep it safe. The shopkeeper took out 4 keys from the counter and handed them to Yun Zmo. Before Yun Zmo even stretched out his hand, a large hand blocked him. We want these rooms. Lu Muyan furrowed her willow brows and scrutinized the 5 people who had just entered the inn and wanted to snatch their rooms. The leader was a tall, big young man with a rough appearance, exuding an aura of hostility all over his body, making people very uncomfortable. Behind him were 2 men and 2 women. The 2 women were pretty good looking, but they revealed an arrogance as if no one could beat them, which destroyed that beauty. Among the other 2 men, one appeared feminine, while the other was smiling, but there wasn't much warmth in his eyes. Generally speaking, the 5 people didn't look like any good people at first glance. A coldness flashed past Lu Muyan's eyes, who knew that they would encounter a scene, one of their room keys being snatched right after they had just arrived at this refuge city. These are rooms we booked, and we've already paid for it. Everyone, please look for another place to book. Yun Zmo wasn't afraid of the hostile aura from the tall, big man, only saying indifferently while looking at him. As soon as the tall, big man entered the door, he heard that the inn only had the last 4 rooms, but it was unfortunate that they were a step late. Seeing that the 6 people except the leader weren't that strong, he decided to step forward, wanting to snatch the rooms. Originally he thought these people would obediently move out of the way, but he didn't expect that they would actually refuse him. This young master has taken a fancy to these 4 rooms. Ask the shopkeeper to return the money to you so you can look for another place to book. The tall, big man had a sliver of arrogance in his eyes. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. In fact, not all sword masters could find an inn to stay at in refuge cities. Those who came late naturally couldn't stay in one, so they would all go to the several resting rooms on the city wall to meditate. Yun Zmo furrowed his brows, then moved his gaze onto Lu Muyan and the others, asking with his eyes, yield or not yield? He didn't fear these few people, but he didn't want to cause trouble on the first day. However, he couldn't swallow his anger either, so he wanted to see the attitude of his several companions. Lu Muyan glanced at the expressions of the several people, then stepped forward with a chuckle, swiftly grabbed the 4 keys from the shopkeeper's hand and said to Yun Zmo and the others, let's go up to rest. She didn't even look at the people who wanted to snatch their rooms just now and simply ignored them. Oh, the chick's temper sure isn't small. The tall, big man blocked their path with a bit of ruthlessness in his eyes, but we're not people who love to show pity and tender care for Jade too. Hand over the keys now and well spare your life, otherwise don't blame us using ruthless methods to destroy flowers. Is that so? With your ugly appearance, you want to use ruthless methods to destroy flowers? Lu Mu Yen put away the keys in front of the several people and folded her arms with ridicule on her lips. Kind humans would be bullied by others. She had never been one to hand over the other cheek after one cheek was slapped. If she succumbed to such a person, then she really would have lived 2 lives in vain. The people who entered and exited the inn at this time also stopped to watch the show when they heard the 2 parties fight for the keys. Originally they thought that the weaker party would give up the rooms, but who expected that this stunning, purple-clothed woman would be so headstrong? You're seeking death. The tall, big man's face was grim, and he raised his hand to give Lu Mu Yen a palm wind. Lu Mu Yen sneered, didn't move from her spot, and stretched out her right hand to greet his. Pung! The 2 palm winds collided together and there was a sound of breaking air. The tables and chairs beside the 2 instantly shattered in numerous halves. Surprise appeared in the eyes of the tall, big man. His strength was at initial phase sword monarch, but a middle phase sword king could actually receive his palm wind, that he had put in 8/10 of his strength into, without even changing expression. The eyes of the several people behind him revealed varying expressions. Seeing that the several sets of tables and seats in the inn were all damaged by the 2 people's palm wind, the shopkeeper's expression sank, and he said, "There is a notice at the entrance of the commercial street that no fighting is allowed. If you 2 continue to fight, when the law enforcement unit arrives, you will all be disqualified from the competition." Lu Mu Yen also read the notice when she entered the commercial street, but she couldn't just sit still when the tall, big man took action. She glanced at the other party with ridicule, took out a purple crystal card, then said to the shopkeeper, "I'll pay half for the loss of the tables and chairs, you ask them for the other half." Hearing her words, the audience couldn't help twitching their lips. How much did a few sets of tables and seats cost? Wasn't this woman a bit too stingy? Lu Mu Yen naturally also felt the speechless gazes. Seeing that the shopkeeper still didn't move and was also looking rather speechless, she said lightly, "Even if I need to send away a beggar with money, I won't benefit a person who's unpleasant to my eyes. Hurry up and swipe my half." The tall, big man's eyes were filled with haze, but he didn't dare to fight again. He slammed his large hand down and placed a purple crystal card on the counter. "Lousy 3 will compensate everything." He noted this stingy woman down. When they leave this city, he definitely must kill this group of people. Seeing that the other party was so chivalrous, Lu Mu Yen took back the purple crystal card in her hand and said to the shopkeeper, "Since Asumyon wants to pretend, then you can just accept his. The tables and seats here aren't easy to buy, remember to charge several times the price." Shouldn't it be that she rushes to pay to demonstrate her magnanimity? Lu Mu Yen then gave the tall, big man a "you're a fool" look, then addressed Yun Zmo and the others to leave the lobby, ignoring the grim gazes of the people behind them. Translated product by May R. Come True 1 Lolo. Another meaning for the word used here, Qiao Duan, is also trope. Haha. Indeed, the arrogant young master/Mrs. Trope. 2. If you just replace the word jade with women/female, then it's pretty straightforward. They won't show pity or tender care for women. I just wanted to keep the translation neutral since it's neutral in Chinese. Can be said to males as a joke too sometimes or about a man. Not common practice to say it to or about a male though, I don't think. 3. Just a reminder, lousy is just an arrogant way of self-address by men. There is somewhat of a translation for it to English, but it's kinda unfitting, so I didn't translate it. Chapter 177. The beast tide has come. When the tall, big man saw Lu Mu Yen cast the "you're a fool" look, his tightly clenched fists made a crack sound. Seeing the several people strutting away, the yellow-clothed woman behind the tall, big man asked with cold eyes, "Boss, well just let them go like this?" She hated women who were more beautiful than herself, and what she loved to do most was to scratch open their faces and watch them suffer. The purple-clothed woman violated her baseline just now. She just wanted to peel that face off to make a human skin mask. There's a clear rule in the city that no fighting's allowed. Otherwise we'll be disqualified from the competition. Why else do you think they dared oppose me? I'll see how they'll be arrogant after leaving the city. The tall, big man snorted coldly. He thought inwardly that Lu Mu Yen and the others dared to offend his prestige because they knew the rules of this city. A sinister smile rose on his lips. Tomorrow, he would definitely make them kneel and beg for mercy. Boss, you have to leave that woman to me. The yellow-clothed woman stroked her lips with her fingertips and said softly. The tall, big man knew her addiction, and there was a smile on his grim face. No problem. I'll give her to you after the three of us play around with them first. No problem. Lu Mu Yen still didn't know that those people had already schemed against her, not only wanting to kill them, but also bully and humiliate her. The yellow-clothed woman even wanted to peel off her face and make a mask. Of course, even if she knew, she wouldn't have much reaction. She didn't pay attention to these people at all to begin with. After going up to the third floor, Lu Mu Yen and Yun Zmo were in a separate room each. Fu Chen and Lu Mu Bai were in one room, and Qi Yi Xian and Yun Lan were in another. After the few people cleaned up and left the inn, they went to a restaurant for dinner and to inquire about any news. Not only were inns popular, but restaurants were the same. The private rooms had long been booked, but they didn't arrive too late either, as they found a quiet table by the window and sat down. The group of people who wanted to snatch the keys from us in the afternoon will definitely not forget this easily. When we leave the city tomorrow, we need to prepare for battle. Lu Mu Yen took a sip of the spiritual tea that the waiter just brought up. The spiritual tea was expensive, but it tasted average. It seemed that this year would be filled with snatching from people. They bullied people too far, and we won't just yield our keys either, so we were bound to have a fight. Qi Yi Xian looked at Lu Mu Yen with gentle eyes, softening his stern face a bit. Lu Mu Yen was accustomed to Qi Yi Xian's cold face and cold eyes. The change now really made her feel a little indescribable, but it definitely wasn't joy. When the time comes, let's just kill them. Fu Chen said with a smile on his face as he held a teacup. Lu Mu Yen raised her head and looked at Fu Chen, who appeared delicate with a scholarly aura and usually felt like an invisible man, in surprise. This person rarely spoke ever since the trial in the glacial mountain range, and he basically didn't say a word when they entered the competition space, so who knew had surprised them with his words now. One really couldn't look at a person's appearance when judging. People like Fu Chen confused people too easily. In fact, his heart was also a ruthless one, it was just dependent on who it was towards. Fu Chen, who knew that a taciturn person like you would also have a moment where you'd be so domineering. Lu Mu Bai and Fu Chen's relationship wasn't that bad, so he joked with relaxed brows. If one does not offend me, then I will not offend one. They took the initiative to provoke, so how was there reason to allow them to bully? Fu Chen replied in a refined, bookish manner. Lu Mu Yen chuckled, that's right, and the scent of blood on those people are very strong. There were definitely many people whose lives were severed by their hands. If they dared to take the initiative to ambush us, then killing them could be considered as a good deed. Although the strength of the other party seemed to be relatively high, but the 6 of them really weren't afraid at all. After all, they all had their own means. Yun Zmo was regarded as the leader of the several people, and he didn't object to this point. In fact, the killing intent in his heart was no weaker than them. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. They chatted a little more, then sat quietly and listened to the conversations of the people at the tables beside them. Have you looked at the rankings on the Jade tablet? A person at a table beside them asked his companion. I haven't looked at it, what's wrong? 2 abnormal monsters have already earned more than 1,000 points, and it's only been half a day. What? That amazing. The people beside took out the Jade tablets for a look. So it turned out to be Mo Ling and Yen Jun. It's said that they are the two people who have the best chance to compete for the first place in this competition. Indeed. The two who come from superpower kingdoms not only have a very deep background, but they're also very powerful in their own right. The two of them are already advanced phase sword monarchs right now. During the finals, they'd probably have broken through to sword sovereign by using the resources here. There was envy and a hint of respect in this person's voice. Lu Muyen swept the jade tablets of the few people and found that they were all blue, indicating that they were pupils from medium-sized kingdoms. These people had been revolving their conversation around Mo Ling and Yen Jun, so Lu Muyen noted down the two that they kept mentioning, then focused on another table. I wonder if there'll be a beast tide coming tonight? A woman with an ordinary face asked worriedly. One of the companions replied, there shouldn't be such a coincidence, right? I heard that the beast tide usually comes every few days or even more than 10 days. Who knows? There's nothing to worry about. As long as we don't take the initiative to leave the refuge city, even if a beast tide attacks, we wouldn't need to be afraid of being engulfed. Another said with a smile. I haven't seen a beast tide yet. I heard that the beast tide in this competition space is very ferocious. Generally, it's commanded by Tier 6 or transformation stage demonic beasts. If you go to the central areas, there will even be Tier 8 demonic beasts appearing. That's only natural. Dozens of Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts aren't scary, but if thousands, tens of thousands of them attack, even if we're Sword King cultivation bases, we wouldn't be able to resist their huge numbers. Not to mention Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts are only just the front line, there are many Tier 5 or 6 demonic beasts in ambush behind. Really? No wonder the elders in the imperial family always insisted that at night, no matter what, we must go to the refuge city to hide. So that means if we go out at night and encounter a beast tide, we'll surely die. It's true. Otherwise, why would there be refuge cities built in the competition space, each separated approximately a day's travel away? Listening to the tone of fear these people had towards the beast tide, Lu Muyen stroked the teacup in deep thought. After their meal, the several people strolled around the commercial street and Lu Muyen once again swept up the spiritual herbs sold in the city, causing many people to cast curious glances at her. Lu Muyen, are you buying so many spiritual herbs to refine pills with? Yunzi Mo found that she was simply too crazy. She basically bought all the spiritual herbs in the pill shops. Lu Muyen raised an eyebrow and said with a smile, otherwise I'm buying it to toss around to play with? Yunzi Mo looked at her speechlessly and said, you've used up your money so quickly, you're not going to participate in the auctions? Let's talk about it when it's time for auctions. Money will always come again once they're used. Lu Muyen smiled vividly, her jet-black eyes sparkling. Just earlier in the restaurant, she heard about the beast tide. She just so happened to have a few pill formulas that were made from demonic beast crystal cores. These spiritual herbs weren't considered too expensive either. The most important thing was that it wasn't available outside, so eventually she could make a lot of money by selling these pills she refined. Hearing her confidence, with lively brilliance all over her body, Yunzi Mo smiled lightly and said no more. After returning to the inn, Lu Muyen quickly entered the state of cultivation. The spiritual force here was several times denser than that outside. Her cultivation base was indeed a little low, so she had to hurry up and improve. In the middle of the night, suddenly, a few roars of demonic beasts broke the original calm of the city. Lu Muyen opened her eyes that were filled with fighting intent. The beast tide has come. Roar, roar. The sound of the beast roars came wave after wave, from far to near, filling the ears of everyone in the city. Lu Muyen looked at the extremely excited Bing Ji. You're this happy that the beast tide has come? Of course. This means that I can refine a lot of crystal cores. Bing Ji's beak opened, as if drooling. Lu Muyen held her forehead. This was just a foodie. Like humans, the laws of survival among demonic beasts were even crueler. The weak becoming meat for the strong was their truth in survival. Refining and absorbing the crystal cores of demonic beasts couldn't only improve the strength of humans, but also the strength of demonic beasts. If they absorbed the crystal cores of demonic beasts with a pure bloodline, then they even had the chance to evolve. Mo Yen, are there many high-level demonic beasts coming this time? Lu Mu Yan's mental energy was still in a dormant state, so she couldn't detect other parties' auras if they were too far away. Mo Yan's eyes were light, not much. The leaders are a few Tier 6 demonic beasts. Leave those Tier 6 demonic beasts to me. Bing Ji exuded a fighting intent all over his body. He hadn't moved his muscles and bones for a long time. Although Tier 6 demonic beasts weren't enough for him to play with, but hell make do. Lu Mu Yen rolled her eyes at him. Later, you'll stay there and not move. Why? Bing Ji stretched his neck and asked. First, the demonic beast crystal cores Tier 6 and below is of no use to you at all. Don't forget that you're a Tier 8 demonic beast. Even if you are suppressed by Ming Xiu to a Tier 6 cultivation base, but it doesn't change your strength of a high level. 2. Once you participate in the battle, you'll inevitably reveal your true form. I still don't want to reveal that I have an Ice-1 spirit pet so quickly. So today, just watch our performance obediently. Lu Mu Yan's brows concealed a deep smile. Bing Ji choked and actually couldn't find any words to refute. He huffed, all right. I won't go up this time. But when we encounter high-level demonic beasts, you must let me fight. The demonic beast crystal cores above Tier 6 was still useful to him. If he could kill a Tier 8 demonic beast, then his cultivation base could be greatly improved. All right. But we'll talk about it when you can actually win in a fight against them. Roar roar. The beast roars shook the heavens and moved the earth, and one could even feel trembles in the city. They're here, let's go take a look. Lu Mu Yen opened the door and quickly joined Yun Zmo and the others, then flew towards the city wall. There were many people flying in the air, all of them having the same purpose, and all arrived on the city wall. After landing on the city wall, Lu Mu Yen swept her gaze down, borrowing the light of the moonlight pearls inlaid on the city wall, and saw the dense number of demonic beasts rushing towards them not far away, roaring and clamoring. Is this the beast tide? The number really is huge. Many sword masters sighed with amazement. Seeing the strong fighting intent in Lu Mu Yan's eyes, Lu Mu Bai said, Yenner, be careful later. Don't worry, eldest brother. Lu Mu Yen tossed him a joyous smile. This time he'll be able to have a satisfactory fight. Some sword masters who had met Lu Mu Yen at the inn at noon were speechless when they heard her say that. What kind of woman was this? Was she not afraid at all? Didn't she see that many female sword masters around were looking like little birds relying on people? All the sword masters in the city, hear the order. You are not allowed to stay below. All must go up to the city wall to withstand the beast tide. Anyone who disobeys the order will be immediately disqualified from the competition. Suddenly, a mechanical voice resounded above the entire city, carrying with it a dense pressure. The organizer sure is a little interesting. Lu Mu Yen said with a smile. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, are we going to take action? Yun Lan looked at Lu Mu Yen and the others, asking. Lu Mu Yen had long been waiting for this, of course. Killing demonic beasts in a beast tide can get us more points, so why should we go to some forest and kill them one by one? Besides, the demonic beast crystal cores obtained by killing the demonic beasts can also be directly refined and absorbed. Only idiots won't act. She added. Behind her just so happened to stand the 5 people who they fought with for the keys in the inn during the day. Among them, the yellow-clothed woman sneered, I had thought that the arrogance during the daytime was because you had something to rely on, but in fact, you're just an idiot. Everyone wanted to get more points, and also knew that if they killed demonic beasts during beast tides, they'd gain points quickly. But the problem was, these demonic beasts came in groups after groups, and they would definitely die if they entered. This woman was just an idiot with a tough mouth. Someone just likes to talk big, why do you need to expose it? The pink-clothed woman beside her replied with a look of disdain. Lu Mu Yen turned her head and glanced at the few people coldly but ignored them. Killing demonic beasts was the important task right now. The several people were swept by her cold gaze and their hearts couldn't help but skip a beat. When she turned back around, they were then left in a bad mood and kept making indirect curses and criticisms. There was a flash of killing intent in Lu Mu Bei's eyes, but Lu Mu Yen stopped him. It's just a few jesters jumping about. Just let them jump around for the night. It was useless to argue now, and they couldn't fight in the city either. It would be fine if they just waited until they left tomorrow and killed to their heart's content. The several people also understood what she meant, so they curbed their killing intent one after another. At the same time, they also felt the killing intent and resentment from the other party. Tomorrow, they really needed to cut the weeds and remove the roots. Roar! Hundreds of Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts rushed under the city wall quickly and roared a few times. Some demonic beasts with good jumping ability leapt onto the edge of the city wall. They've jumped up, kill. The sword masters who were closer to the edge of the city wall quickly took out their magic tools to kill. Because the demonic beasts who leapt up were all Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts, there wasn't much threat to the sword masters whose minimum cultivation base was Sword King strength. After cleaning up the demonic beasts on the city wall, many people stood by on the edge of the city wall and kept brandishing all kinds of magic tools to attack the demonic beasts below. Sword auras of various colors swayed, even illuminating the night a little. Lu Mu Yen and the others weren't idle either. Sword auras slashed down one after the other and the points in the jade tablet also kept increasing, but the speed was very slow. She found that killing a Tier 3 demonic beast was only 1 point and a Tier 4 demonic beast was 2 points. She couldn't resist furrowing her brows when she remembered the conversation between those people in the restaurant. The two genius sword masters named Mo Ling and Yen Jun got more than 1,000 points on the first day. It seemed that they had to slay quite a bit of high-level demonic beasts to have obtained it. In order to stand out in the second round of the competition, it was also important to be in the top 10 during the preliminary round. After 2 hours had passed, the bodies of countless Tier 3 and 4 demonic beasts piled up below, but no one dared to go down and retrieve the crystal cores. After all, the waves of beasts were still surging and the Tier 3 demonic beasts could no longer be seen, replaced by Tier 5 demonic beasts. Roar! Waves after waves of Tier 5 demonic beasts came from not far away and everyone saw the densely packed shadows approaching quickly. Tier 5 demonic beasts are here, fuck, there are actually so many. Many sword masters were dumbfounded when they saw nearly 1,000 Tier 5 demonic beasts rushing towards them. Even the sword masters with Sword Monarch cultivation base revealed a grave expression. A few dozen were still easy to deal with, but with so many Tier 5 demonic beasts, even if they acted, the moment they become surrounded, if they didn't die, they'd be severely injured. Meanwhile, Lu Mu Yan's eyes lit up. You all be careful, I'm going to earn some points now, don't follow. After she finished speaking, she didn't wait for the other people to answer either. She tapped her toes, and her body flew out elegantly, falling straight from the city wall. Mu Yen, Yenner, Lu Mu Yen. Lu Mu Bai and the others never thought that she would actually dare be so bold and couldn't help but shout. Heavens! Has that woman gone crazy? The sword masters who saw the purple figure fall down the city wall couldn't help but exclaim. Chapter 179. Violent Beauty. Lu Mu Yan's actions caused many sword masters on the city wall to wipe away some cold sweat. Was this not wanting her own life? It was just that the imagined scene didn't occur. Although the purple, elegant silhouette was surrounded by demonic beasts, but she wasn't torn to pieces. Instead, she waved her fists and smashed towards the demonic beast that wanted to bite her. Isn't that woman's body too strong? Yeah. Compared with Tier 5 demonic beasts, she wasn't inferior at all. This is too exaggerated. No wonder she dared to rush down. So it turns out that the toughness of her body is already comparable to that of a demonic beast. Is this still a woman? She looks so beautiful, but why is she so violent? What do you know? Compared with so many delicate beauties, such violent beauties are more pleasing to the eye. The eyes of the 5 people who held a grudge against them all revealed some haze. Obviously, they didn't expect the woman that they had just finished ridiculing to have such combat power. This was basically having been slapped on the cheek loud and clear, even more embarrassing than quarreling. This woman definitely can't be kept alive. This thought rose in the minds of the tall, big man and his companions unanimously. Their bodies simply didn't have the toughness of Lu Muyan's body, nor was it as flexible as hers either, so they could only stand on the city wall and attack the demonic beasts that jumped up or were under the city wall, their points increasing very slowly. After Lu Muyan rushed into the group of beasts, she seemed to be attacking with the most primitive brute force, but it was in fact not. Her hands were enveloped with a layer of red fire elemental energy, and each time she punched and attacked, she aimed at the vital point of the demonic beast. Each time a scorching palm wind blasted out, the blazing energy that landed on the demonic beast's vital point could directly injure its heart. A few punches could kill one demonic beast while she took out the crystal core and tossed it into her interspatial ring. Elemental energy continued to be drained, but she didn't take pills to replenish. Instead, she directly grasped the crystal core and began to absorb and refine it. In this space, due to the special energy, other sword masters could directly absorb the power of the crystal core without using pills to remove the poison, but they needed the actual refining process, otherwise their body would explode. But Lu Muyan didn't need it. Her body refining skill had already entered the second layer, and her body was no less powerful than demonic beasts at peak phase tier 5. Plus the effect of the sea of fog in her dantian, no matter how many demonic beast crystal cores she absorbed, she could refine it. I found the traces of the tier 6 demonic beasts. You clean up the tier 5 demonic beasts here, they'll go kill the few leaders. Mo Yan's voice entered Lu Muyan's sea of consciousness. When Bing Ji heard it, he also wanted to act. It was indeed really boring fighting with these tier 5 demonic beasts. Owner, they'll follow up for a look. You both go. Remember to take it easy, don't kill too fast. Otherwise this beast tide will recede. Lu Muyan bombarded the besieging demonic beasts while telepathically communicating. Mo Yan replied, then leapt off her shoulders and disappeared into the beast tide in an instant. Bing Ji spread his wings and flew in the direction where Mo Yan disappeared, vanishing in a while as well. Crack! Lu Muyan smashed the bones of a peak phase tier 5 demonic beast. Her palm that was enveloped with fire elemental energy pierced through its chest, grabbed a round and fluorescent green crystal core, and tore it out. Would attribute demonic beast. Lu Muyan murmured. This time, she didn't directly refine the crystal core, placing it away with the demonic beast corpse. Afterwards, she swept her gaze around, then after finding a few of the same tier 5 sweet-scented osmanthus beasts, she used flash steps to maneuver around the surrounding demonic beasts and headed straight for those sweet-scented osmanthus beasts. Her movements are so fast. Many sword masters on the city wall were not only fighting to kill demonic beasts, but also focused partially on Lu Muyan. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Some people were waiting to see when she would become exhausted or become besieged and killed by demonic beasts, but now they actually witnessed that she didn't only not return to the city wall, but instead moved towards the center of the beast tide, her movements like ghosts. They couldn't help but be exceptionally shocked. Where did this woman come from? She wasn't on the list of talented people that they had to pay special attention to. Many people guessed that if she could come back safely tonight, she would definitely be a dark horse in this preliminary competition. The ranking of points in the jade tablets kept changing, and the name Lu Muyan had skyrocketed from a ranking after 10,000 to now approaching 1,000. There are only 6 points for killing tier 5 demonic beasts, but 10 points for killing peak phase tier 5 demonic beasts. Seems like I have to find a way to individually search and make a move. Lu Muyan muttered to herself. The speed of her movement towards the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts was unabated, and everyone just saw a faint purple figure appearing and disappearing, before finally overwhelmed by the darkness and the beast tide. She's gone. Someone shouted subconsciously. I see her heading towards those dark green demonic beasts that look like brown bears. One of them said. There were some who also didn't like her showing off and said coldly, I think she's probably already buried in the belly of a demonic beast. How's that possible? Look, right now there's a name Lu Mu Yen on the identity jade tablet that keeps rising. You can tell it's a girl from first glance alone, so it should be her. Many people were in awe of Lu Mu Yan's act of rushing down the city wall and slaying among the demonic beasts. If it were them, they definitely wouldn't dare to do so. Lu Mu Bai and the others observed the changes of the point rankings in the jade tablet. Seeing the name Lu Mu Yen still rising, they slowly breathed a sigh of relief. This little sister of yours is too frightening. Fu Chen stood beside Lu Mu Bai and sighed with mixed emotions, but really strong. That girl is getting wilder and wilder. Lu Mu Bai's eyes were filled with doting. As long as little sister was happy, and under the condition that she could guarantee her own safety, then he wouldn't restrain her. Yun Zmo slayed a demonic beast that had leapt up to the wall and said, "You all are too doting on her, letting her do anything." Although Lu Mu Yen revealed her strong fighting power, but it made them nervous. While being proud of their companion, they also couldn't help but feel speechlessness at her actions. Qi Yi Xian's eyes darkened, looking at the faraway plain under the shroud of night. He could no longer find that splendid figure and he suddenly felt a sense of powerlessness. Was the distance between him and Lu Mu Yen already so big? No. He wouldn't give up. He must catch up to her footsteps and let her return to him again. As if being motivated, Qi Yi Xian jumped off the city wall, but he didn't go in deep. Using the obstruction of the black iron of the city wall, he bravely killed the demonic beasts who were roaring and wanted to overthrow the city. Seeing his flexible attacks, others also jumped off the city wall daringly and maneuvered among the demonic beasts, using the strength of the city wall to kill the demonic beasts. Their speed was indeed much faster than before. Lu Mu Bai and the others looked at each other, then followed, jumping off the city wall and quickly killed and harvested the Tier 5 demonic beasts. Not long after, there were more and more corpses of demonic beasts under the city wall, and the sword masters below the city wall also had the opportunity to collect high-level demonic beasts into their interspatial ring. Lu Mu Yen kept chasing and killing the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts and scooped out green crystal cores from their bodies one after another. There was a smile on her lips. Today's harvest sure was really good. At the same time, on a city in the east of the competition field stood a man whose face couldn't be seen clearly. The man stood proudly, exuding a coldness all over his body, forming an independent scene that no one dared to approach. He lifted the jade tablet in his hand and watched a name on it continue to leap, whispering, "Lu Mu Yen, this year's dark horse from a small kingdom?" If someone was by his side, they would definitely have found that the jade tablet in his hand was dark purple. Translated product by May R. Come True. Chapter 180, Advance to the top 50 in the rankings. In the north of the competition space, a red-clothed man sat cross-legged in an upper room of an inn in a large city. He slowly opened his eyes, took out his dark purple jade tablet, saw a name on the point rankings continuously advancing upwards, and his lips curled up. Who is Lu Mu Yen? Never heard of Yanzhou Kingdom either. Seeing the name advance into the top 100, his calm eyes didn't change much. A person from a small kingdom advancing up into the top 100 on the first day, interesting. Then he held the jade tablet in his hand, closed his eyes and didn't put too much thought into the point rankings. Lu Mu Yan's flash step was extremely fast, plus many demonic beasts saw her powerful lethality where none of the demonic beasts who landed in her hands could escape, so although they were furious, but they were also extremely fearful and didn't dare to take the initiative to sneak attack. Seeing that her ranking had already advanced into the top 100, she slowed down the killing of demonic beasts. It was better to keep a low profile on the first day. All the crystal cores of the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts were wood attributes, which could be used to refine a very useful elemental energy nurturing pill, so she didn't let free of herself and kill indiscriminately, but instead specifically searched for sweet-scented osmanthus beasts to kill. The sweet-scented osmanthus beasts around were all tier 5 and had gained intelligence. Seeing that human woman kill their own kind, they were initially madly angered. They raised their heads and screamed, gathering all the surrounding sweet-scented osmanthus beasts to attack her. Yet who would have thought that it was precisely to her heart's desire? More than 10 advanced phase and peak phase tier 5 demonic beasts besieged her, and it was also exhausting for her to use the most primitive attack methods to attack. Seeing that she was already far away from the city wall, and this area was shrouded in darkness, making it so that the people looking from over there wouldn't be able to see her clearly, with a thought, a golden longsword flew out from her waist. She moved her fingers, bombarding the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts that were biting towards her, while mouthing some words at the same time. Then her red lips spit out one word, separate. Let's take a look at the power of my natal magic tool today. Lu Mu Yen said to herself and used her mental energy to control her natal magic tool. The golden longsword hovering in the air instantly scattered into 10 small swords, forming a golden cyclone one after another, heading directly towards the sweet-scented osmanthus beasts besieging her. Ao! Screams rang out one after another. The golden cyclones were like meat grinders. The demonic beasts it passed were slayed one after another, their corpses penetrated by the small swords as it brought out the crystal cores to drop into Lu Mu Yan's hands. She looked at the force created by her natal magic tool with satisfaction. It wasn't that she was cruel. These demonic beasts were very fierce and ruthless. If she wasn't careful and was bitten by them, then she'd definitely be ripped apart and devoured. So she had no sympathy for these demonic beasts who took the initiative to attack a human city. What should be killed, she would kill. This was the law of survival for cultivators. After killing the nearby sweet-scented osmanthus beasts, she didn't act again, and instead mobilized her flash steps, maneuvering around within the beast tide. Suddenly, the points on her jade tablet increased sharply, 20 points at once, and then her ranking flew up to 62nd. She felt that it seemed like she played a little too big today. It wasn't good to be so high profile on the first day. It would be very troublesome if she attracted the attention of the geniuses of the big kingdoms. Mo Yen, around enough is good enough, my points have already exceeded my limit, let's keep a low profile. Lu Mu Yen telepathically communicated to Mo Yen. An increase of 20 points definitely must have been obtained from Mo Yen killing a tier 6 demonic beast. In the continental tournament for hegemony, one could bring their own spirit pets to fight, and the battle records of the spirit pets would also be counted to their owner. So when Mo Yen killed demonic beasts, her points would increase accordingly. These two little vermin keep on following me. I'll come back after killing them. Mo Yan's voice telepathically replied. The corner of Lu Mu Yan's lips twitched. Seeing that there was only a difference of 39 points between the 62nd place and 50th place, it seemed that it would be impossible to not be in the limelight this time. Sure enough, not long later, the rankings on the point rankings changed again. Lu Mu Yen increased by 40 points, pushing the 50th person down, successfully breaking into the top 50 of the rankings. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Some of the leading high-level demonic beasts were killed by Mo Yen while the remaining two saw that the situation wasn't favorable, so they instantly roared a few times, turned, and shot towards the deep mountains in the distance. At this time, the sky not far away also revealed a trace of white light. The night was about to be replaced by morning light. Lu Mu Yan's eyes fluctuated, then quickly recalled Mo Yen and Bing Ji, and moved towards the city wall. When she jumped onto the city wall, the demonic beasts below all roared with bloodshot eyes, then finally turned around unwillingly, heading towards the deep mountains in the distance. The beast tide came quickly and left quickly. When the sky was slightly lit up, all the demonic beasts below the city had retreated, leaving only piles of demonic beast corpses and the smell of blood filling the entire city. A ray of sunlight broke through the sky and shot down directly, perfectly scattering on the position where Lu Mu Yen was standing. The wind fluttered her purple dress and her ink-like hair tied with a thin ribbon flowed freely. Her entire body was as if it were enveloped in a layer of warm golden light, her figure peerlessly gorgeous, giving people a mysterious, graceful feel. Her peerless and delicate facial features appeared much softer in the warm light, forming a visual contrast with the deadly, cold woman who rushed into the group of beasts to kill, making people unable to fathom. And her name also appeared as a talent to pay attention to on lists belonging to sword masters from each kingdom. Who wasn't an amazing, sensational person to have advanced into the top 50 on the first day? Although the well-known and admired figures like Mo Ling and Yan Jun were also objects of attention, but it was only a matter of course for them to have entered the top 50. The names Yanzhou Kingdom, Lu Mu Yan were extremely unfamiliar to the sword masters from superpower kingdoms and many large, medium, and small kingdoms. Whether she was the dark horse this time could only be known at the end. Therefore, Lu Mu Yan's name only got some notice and attention, but was not included on the list of priorities to pay attention to. If Lu Mu Yan knew this, she definitely would feel that she was extremely wise. If she killed a few more demonic beasts and advanced into the top 10 of the rankings, it would mean endless trouble. Of course, during the last few days, she naturally didn't mind being high profile. After all, the reward for advancing into the top 10 were identity jade tablets, which gave a greater guarantee for the second round. Yenner, you're too impulsive. Lu Mu Bei's tone was reproachful, but the doting look in his eyes didn't subside. Lu Mu Yan jumped down from the very top of the city wall and hugged his arm, acting spoilt as she said, "Eldest brother, it's because I'm well aware of the situation so I dare to go. I cherish my little life very much. You. If Grandpa and Dad are here, they'd definitely be frightened sick by you." Lu Mu Bai tapped the tip of her nose in amusement. How could that be? Their hearts are very strong. Yunzi Mo put away the long sword in his hand with appreciation in his eyes. Congratulations on advancing into the top 50 of the rankings. But I don't want to be so high profile at all. Lu Mu Yan revealed some helplessness on her face and shrugged. She indeed wanted to earn points and collect crystal cores, but she really didn't want to be so high profile at the beginning. She still liked to amass wealth while keeping a low profile. The people who were close to them rolled their eyes speechlessly. She didn't want to be so high profile but still rushed into the beast tied to kill, and that look of dislike when she heard her point rankings, it truly made them want to vomit blood. They sure wanted to be high profile, but they just couldn't be high profile. This woman truly was a freak. Translated product by May Arkham True. Chapter 181, You pierce through the heavens. Well, all accompany you. Only those who had seen Lu Mu Yan jump into the beast tide and kill with ghostly maneuvers understood just how violent this woman was. Especially her body that was comparable to that of a demonic beast, it truly attracted the envy of countless people. Of course, there weren't only those who were envious, there were also many who were red-eyed with jealousy, and there were even some who considered snatching the body refining method from her. On Tianling continent, body refining methods were extremely rare, and could even be considered non-existent. But as long as one obtained one, their future achievements were absolutely unlimited. Under the complicated gazes of countless people, Lu Mu Yan returned to the inn to rest with Yunzi Mo and the others. After busying for half a night, they prepared to rest a day, then travel to the next city. In addition to killing a certain number of demonic beasts to get points during the preliminary round of the Continental Tournament for Hegemony, the participants must also arrive at the largest city, Wind Thunder City, in the central area within a specified time frame. If they didn't arrive in time, then it would be considered renouncing their qualifications to continue the competition. Regardless of which assembly point the person teleported in from, they were all at the edge of the competition space, very far from the central area. Therefore, they must kill demonic beasts to collect points while traveling without a break. After their figures disappeared on the city wall, the five went into a corner where no one was around to discuss countermeasures. Boss, although that woman's only at middle phase Sword King cultivation base, but her combat power is very strong. Do we still besiege and kill them after we leave the city? The feminine-looking man asked thoughtfully. The yellow-clothed woman beside revealed some ridicule in her eyes. Didn't you find that she survived the beast tide last night based on 2 points? What 2 points? 1 is her footwork that's as fast as a ghost, and 2 is the toughness of her body that's comparable to that of a demonic beast. The yellow-clothed woman raised 2 fingers and asked softly, "Are you all not interested at all in her footwork and the body refining method?" She didn't believe that these few people wouldn't desire that woman's footwork and the body refining method. She advocated being delicate and beautiful, while cruelty and ruthlessness needed to remain inside. But she also hoped that her bodice toughness could be comparable to demonic beasts, as that represented strength and combat power. The feminine man narrowed his eyes, hesitated, then said, "Naturally I desire it." She relied on her tough physique and footwork to flexibly roam around and kill among the demonic beast, but it isn't necessarily useful against us. The grim, uncertain expression of the tall, big man was replaced by decisiveness. If we don't get rid of them, they will definitely become a big concern. If we really can't compete with them, we all have means of escape, so what's there to hesitate? What's more, our overall strength is much stronger than theirs. Well, stay in the city to rest for now, and as soon as they leave the city, well, get rid of them. The tall, big man made a gesture of cutting his neck. Among them, there were 2 sword monarchs and 3 peak phase sword kings, and they also came from a middle-sized kingdom. How could they be easily shocked by the performance of the woman last night and not dare carry out the original plan? Most importantly, they needed to obtain that woman's footwork and body refining method no matter what. "Boss, do we need to send a message to the other team of the Empire?" The man who constantly kept a smile asked. The tall, big man gritted his teeth and said, "For the time being, no need. I'll first record the news of those people. If there are changes, then we'll send the news over. After all, my relationship with that eldest brother isn't very good. It's good to be prepared." They took turns to monitor Lu Mu Yen and their group's every movement, while the others meditated and recovered, waiting to attack. In a room of the inn, Lu Mu Yen picked out the demonic beast crystal cores that could be used to refine pills, then tossed the rest to her few spirit pets to devour and refine. However, most of the crystal cores went into Meow Meow's stomach. After all, Tier 5 demonic beast crystal cores weren't so useful to the other 3 demonic beasts, especially Bing Ji. He didn't get a single one. After restoring her body to its peak state, night fell again, but this night was extremely calm. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Early the next morning, the several people met in the lobby of the inn and left the city together. "A lot of people are watching us today," Yun Lan said with furrowed brows. Lu Mu Yen also discovered that. She apologized. "Apologies, it seems that I caused you all some unnecessary trouble." It seemed that many people probably wanted to contend for her body refining method. She had no intention of dragging the other 5 people into the water with her, but she didn't regret what she did last night, and she wouldn't be able to bring herself to do things in a cowardly manner even more. If the other people besides her elder brother felt that she was a drag to them, then she would act alone. Apologize for what? "We chose to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony, which means infinite trouble and danger. If we can't even deal with these petty schemers, then how can we speak of rushing into the top 100? The look in Yun Lan's eyes was serious, and he didn't think that there was anything wrong with Lu Mu Yan's behavior last night. When one should show off, then one should be high profile. So what if others were fiery-eyed with desire? Yun Zmo looked askance at her and said, "Put away your thoughts of acting alone, even if you pierce through the heavens, well, I'll accompany you to carry it one. To be able to be high profile in the tournament for hegemony, that's also a nice experience. Do whatever you want, we'll accompany you to the end." An elegant smile spread on Fu Chen's face, but his tone was full of domineering. Qi Yi Xian had his own little feelings for Lu Mu Yan, so he just wanted to indulge her. If one of those people come, well, kill one. If a pair comes, well, kill a pair. You can just let free and play. They already said everything I want to say, Lu Mu Bai said with a helpless smile in his eyes. Lu Mu Yan just had a restless temperament. Wherever she went, she would stir up foul winds and make it rain blood too. Even if she didn't find trouble herself, trouble would take the initiative to deliver itself to her door. They were all willing to accompany her to play until the end. Lu Mu Yan really didn't expect these people to not only not blame her, but to even let her continue to get into trouble. It was just that the little plan in her heart had also completely dissipated. Since the 5 people believed in her like this, then she also couldn't let them down. If one chose to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony, then how could one not demonstrate their skills? If one didn't want to play, then don't come. If one wanted to play, then they must play big. All right. Just pretend I didn't say that just now. Lu Muyan's brows were dyed with warmth, but don't blame me for not reminding you all. If we want to play, then we need to play something exciting. When that time comes, don't be cowering and be afraid to free your hands and feet. This woman really had no heart to be well behaved. After they left the city, many people followed, but they didn't do anything. After walking for about an hour, they left the plains near the city, and entered a dense forest which was the only way to get to the central area. Lu Muyan's ears moved slightly, looked at a big tree not far away, and smiled lightly. All come out. It must have been hard for you to wait here for so long. As soon as her voice fell, 5 people jumped down from the big tree, precisely the people who clashed with them in the city. It seems that you already can't wait to die. The tall, big man took a step forward, his eyes filled with killing intent. The other 4 quickly separated and surrounded the 6. The yellow-clothed woman said with a soft smile, "Remember not to touch that woman's face. I still want to peel it off to make a human skin mask. Sure, after we play them to death, that face skin is yours." The unscrupulous words of the few people completely aroused the killing intent in the hearts of Lu Mu Bai and the others. Lu Muyan glanced at the yellow-clothed woman casually. She couldn't resist revealing a faint smile. She had lived 2 lives and it sure was the first time someone wanted to peel her face off and make a human skin mask. Interesting. Come true. Chapter 182. Resolve. The few people who followed Lu Muyan and her group quietly saw that the 2 parties were about to fight, so they immediately hid their figures to watch the battle. Maybe they would even be able to perform a when the snipe and clam grapple, the fisherman benefits. "I'll deal with this chick, you all go quickly kill the other people." The tall, big man gave the 4 of them a look, and a long, scarlet saber appeared in his hand. The other 4 nodded and looked at Lu Mu Bai and the others with unkind gazes. Yun Zmo faced the Sword Emperor, Yun Lan and Qi Yi Xian faced the yellow-clothed woman, Lu Mu Bai faced the feminine man and Fu Chen faced the last, pink-clothed woman. The battle was imminent. The tall, big man didn't have the heart of showing pity and tender care for Jade. He channeled elemental energy into his scarlet, long saber and swung it down towards Lu Muyan. The red sword light was dazzling in the sky, turning into a circular arc that flew out, stabbing straight towards Lu Muyan's heart. Lu Muyan's eyes were filled with coldness, but she didn't dodge. She pulled out a golden soft sword from her waist, channeled a trace of spiritual energy with the green sea of mist into it, then waved it gently. A round of golden crescent moons poured out like a rich display of lights, merging with the scarlet sword light. Instantly, a dazzling light burst out from within the entire forest. The energy from the collision between the 2 spread very far away as the surrounding trees broke and collapsed one after another. The scarlet sword light was annihilated in the light while the golden crescent moon burst through the air, heading directly towards the tall, big man. After the dazzling light passed, Lu Muyan's face remained indifferent, and her clothes were in perfect condition while the tall, big man opposite was in ragged clothes with a trace of blood left on his mouth. His eyes carried horror. "Saint Tool. You actually have a saint tool." The reason why Lu Muyan used her natal magic tool was because, 1, she wanted to try its power again, and 2, she wanted to fight quickly and finish quickly. So what if it's true? It's a pity you don't have the life to enjoy using it. Lu Muyan sneered when she saw the greed in the other's eyes. She turned her attention to the rear and saw that Lu Mu Bai and the others' battles weren't that easy to win. After all, the opponent was from a medium-sized kingdom, so they couldn't possibly not have some trump cards. "Mo Yen, go and help, battle quickly, finish quickly, more people are coming towards us." Although Lu Muyan's mental energy was still dormant, but she could still feel the auras approaching. Mo Yan's indifferent eyes didn't even reveal the slightest fighting intent. In his eyes, those few people who were about to become a few corpses were nothing to worry about. Roar. A demonic beast roar resounded throughout the forest. With the pressure of a royal race demonic beast spreading throughout the dense forest, his roar contained a sonic attack and those who were peeping all felt dizzy. The several people in the battle circle were also distracted by this sonic attack. His body suddenly grew several times larger and the flame-like mark on his forehead appeared lifelike. He leapt up and landed straight in front of Lu Mubai. Then he stretched out his claws, slapped, and the currently confused, feminine man flew out backwards, spurting a few mouthfuls of blood. Immediately after that, he swept his tail and it landed heavily on the flying body of the other party. His heart and lungs were shattered, and the feminine man immediately lost his aura after falling to the ground. The others woke from the sound waves and what entered their eyes was the appearance of the man falling to the ground and bleeding to death. They all revealed panic. In just a few breaths of time, that woman's demonic beast actually killed one of their people. The several people suddenly had the intention of retreating. Body refining methods were nice, but they also needed to have a life to take it. The tall, big man's heart trembled. Although he had some means, but the other party had a saint tool, and also such a powerful tier 6 demonic beast. He could only escape. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Seeing the tall, big man looking anxious, moving as if to retreat, with a thought, Lu Muyan's golden longsword was divided into 10 small swords, and she mouthed a few words. With a point of her fingers, several talisman seals condensed in mid-air, flew to the very top, then finally formed a jade-colored talisman belt, surrounding everyone within the battle circle. Quick! She let out a soft exclamation. The 10 flying swords hummed, lined up in a horizontal line, then flew towards the tall, big man who had already turned and fled towards the deep forest. Feeling the threat from the rear, the tall, big man took out a big cauldron to block him from behind. His figure dashed out but was then heavily bounced back. You want to escape in the array I arranged? Go die. Lu Muyan's eyes were sharp. The 10 flying swords penetrated the cauldron and shot straight at the tall, big man. The man's pupils constricted and immediately crushed a transparent ball of light in his hand. A stream of light flew towards the deep mountains in the distance, disappearing instantly. Don't kill me. I Suran, the tall, big man's voice stuck halfway, his eyes opened wide, filled with disbelief. How could this be? He, a sword master at initial phase sword monarch, was actually killed by a woman at middle phase sword king this quickly. He really shouldn't have tried to snatch the keys to the rooms at the beginning. His regretful expression dissipated little by little, together with his aura. Boss. The pink-clothed woman was also slapped to death by Mo Yen, while the smiling man and the yellow-clothed woman revealed terror in their eyes when they saw that their leader was killed by Lu Muyan. Wasn't this woman's combat power too exaggerated? The two looked at each other, then ran for their lives in different directions. But how could Yunzi Mo and the others, along with Mo Yen, let them escape? Mo Yen chased the yellow-clothed woman, waved his paw in the air, then a black, plum blossom-shaped one palm print slapped directly at the woman's back. Pu. The woman spat out a few mouthfuls of blood, then sped up her steps to escape, but was blocked by Lu Muyan's jade-colored talisman belt. You can't kill me. We're from the EC Empire and there's still a team of people who are much stronger than us. If you kill me, they won't let you all go. The woman turned around and looked at Lu Muyan and the others, saying, unreconciled. The smiling man was already surrounded and killed by Yunzi Mo and the others. Lu Muyan walked to the yellow-clothed woman as if leisurely strolling through a courtyard, raised an eyebrow and said, Aren't you going to peel my face off to make a human skin mask? The yellow-clothed woman had long lost her previous imposing manner. Her body softened and said pitifully and softly, I just wanted to threaten you a bit earlier. As long as you guys don't kill me, I'll listen to anything you all say. Bing Ji shook the feathers on his body and said with a look of disgust, Owner, this ugly woman is so disgusting, hurry up and kill her. What did your leader crush just now? Lu Muyan looked at Bing Ji amusedly, then looked at the woman and asked, though she had a guess in her heart. It's an array ball that reports messages. As long as it's crushed, the message can be sent out. He's reporting the message to our other team of people. The yellow-clothed woman hated inwardly, but still said with softness and meekness. Lu Muyen lowered her head and pondered for a little, then walked to the yellow-clothed woman, pinched her chin, and fed a drug into her mouth. "What did you give me to eat?" The woman wanted to dig out the drug, but the drug melted in her mouth the moment it entered. She looked at Lu Muyen with a trace of fear in her eyes and asked. Lu Muyen blinked and said with a smile, "Good stuff." Then she ignored the yellow-clothed woman and looked sharply at a part of the dense forest not far away. If those people dared to come up to seek death, she wouldn't mind also sending them off. Seeing that there weren't any movements, she called to Yun Zmo and the others, then quickly left the place, leaving behind the currently terrified, yellow-clothed woman with constantly changing expressions and no confidence in heart. "Lu Muyen, why didn't you kill her?" Fu Chen asked in confusion after walking for a while. Come true. One plum blossom shape is usually how the Chinese describe the paw-pad prints of cats or big cats, like tigers etc., or our cute little Mo-yen. Cute. Note, I think I'll take this chance to just go back to one-day chapters. Got sick yesterday, feeling better now, but also school is about to start at the end of next week and I need to start preparing stuff XD, so one day at 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time for now. Chapter 183, Temporarily avoid revealing their abilities. Lu Muyen, why didn't you kill her? I'm deliberately keeping her to report. The leading man already passed our news out using an array ball and we don't even know who the enemy is. Instead of letting them hide in the dark, might as well use that woman as bait to fish them out. Lu Muyen knew that killing those people would surely provoke the anger of the other team of the opponent's kingdom, but if they didn't kill them, then the other party wouldn't let them go either, so they could only continue to make enemies. What did you feed that ugly woman? Yunlan asked with a smile. A type of slow-performing poison pill. After taking it, her face will gradually be covered in blue lines, and she will age very quickly. Her cultivation base will also halt, then she will gradually die. A coldness flashed past Lu Muyen's eyes. She had ideas about my face and paid most attention to her own face. It would be too unkind of me not to repay her. In her spare time before, she refined several kinds of poison pills which were specifically designed to deal with those who were scheming and vicious. But she just didn't expect that on the second day after entering here, she would have to use one of the types of pills. The several people couldn't help revealing a bit of a smile. Such a repayment would probably make that woman's life worse than death. Lu Muyen, isn't your combat power too powerful? You didn't spend much effort to kill that sword monarch cultivation base leader. After Fu Chen familiarized himself with everyone, he also gradually said more. Lu Muyen's cultivation base was only middle phase Sword King, but the combat power she displayed could probably kill sword masters of middle phase Sword Monarch cultivation base and above. After all, her means haven't all been exhausted. Actually, the reason why I won so quickly just now was mainly because the other party underestimated the enemy, plus the sudden attack of my spirit pet which deterred him, and he wanted to escape without using his trump cards. That's why he died so quickly. Lu Muyen wasn't being humble. At first, the tall, big man felt that he would definitely win her, so he slightly belittled. When she used her natal magic tool, he was then intimidated, and then he was completely deterred by Mo Yan's power. That person only wanted to escape, so she had a chance to take advantage of it. Otherwise, if he really used his trump cards one by one, she definitely would never have won so easily. Of course, although her own cultivation base was one stage lower than the opponent, but ever since she comprehended the water element to a new height, plus the power of her natal magic tool, without using her trump cards, her comprehensive strength was already comparable to an average advanced phase sword monarch. It wouldn't be difficult to kill a man who was only at initial phase sword monarch. That's true. They underestimated the enemy from the beginning. Fu Chen nodded, and his gaze moved to Mo Yan on Lu Muyen's shoulder, clearly having some lingering fears at the power the fire cloud mink displayed earlier. Qi Yi Xian knew that this spirit pet of Lu Muyen's was won from an auction, but he didn't expect this demonic beast to have reached tier 6 strength in such a short period of time. It truly was incredible. Could he not be a fire cloud mink? Mu Yen, your spirit pet is advancing so fast. He couldn't help but sigh with emotion. Lu Mu Yen raised an eyebrow and joked, his owner, am a genius, so he naturally can't be too far behind. Her joking remarks also avoided Qi Yi Xian's words. Was there such a way to praise oneself? I wonder how strong the other team of the EC Empire is? Yunlan said with a solemn expression. Definitely much stronger than these rabble. Lu Mu Yen saw that Yunzi Mo obviously knew about the EC Empire and asked him, how is the EC Empire's national strength? The cultivation bases of the few people they killed were mostly piled up with pills. They had a cruel temperament and used ruthless methods. They were probably arrogant pupils raised by distinguished clans, and the other team probably felt disdain towards them, so they acted separately. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Of course, disdain for this team didn't mean that they could tolerate them being killed. Getting into trouble was inevitable. The EC Empire is a large kingdom in the western region. It ranks in the middle of the entire Tianling continent's rankings and is much stronger than Yanzhou Kingdom. That's why they don't take us seriously. Yunzi Mo's expression was obscure as he answered. Lu Mu Yen smiled and teased, who do you think will take us seriously? The red jade tablet in our hands means that we're soft peaches, hurry up and come squeeze us. Pfft. After hearing her words, their originally heavy hearts gradually lightened. Then, according to the strength of the EC Empire, how many places are they allocated? Lu Mu Yen asked. 11. Their other team should be an elite group of 6. Yunzi Mo paused, then said, in each region, the large kingdom's forces are very intricate and complex, so the places to participate in the continental tournament for hegemony couldn't have been allocated like Yanzhou Kingdom. Under the pressure of the empire's imperial family and distinguished clans, they will also allow a number of places to be given to other clans' pupils to make up for the numbers, just like the 5 earlier. But they would also carefully select an elite team to compete for the top 100. If we encounter elite teams from large and medium-sized kingdoms, then there is currently 0 chance of winning. So that's how it is. No wonder that in the previous refuge city, I felt that a portion of the people weren't as strong as I thought they would be. So it's because they entered the competition through connections. Lu Mu Yen rubbed her chin as she said. Lu Mu Bei's light eyes darkened, even if they came in through connections, but it also means their own strength isn't that bad, otherwise it'd be impossible to be sent by their empires to participate in such a competition. We still have to hurry up to improve our strength. That way, if we meet the other team of the EC Empire, we would be able to deal with them. His words touched the bottom of everyone's heart. They were the genius leaders of the younger generation of the empire when they were in Yanzhou Kingdom, but it wasn't enough here. The strength of a random group of people even just looked stronger than them. Sword monarch powerhouses were everywhere. They all had their own trump cards, but others might have stronger trump cards. If they weren't careful, they might be the ones who fall here. How did the people of Yanzhou Kingdom advance to above 2,000th? Lu Mu Yen only found out that there were tens of thousands of talented sword masters. For a small kingdom like Yanzhou, let alone top 100, even entering top 3,000th was a good result. Yunzi Mo's cold, handsome face was in a daze for a moment before realizing what she meant, then replied with a light smile, I heard that they hid in a secretive mountain forest to cultivate during the preliminary round. Only after they advanced their cultivation bases, did they come out to kill demonic beasts to score points. This method is actually used by many sword masters from small and medium-sized kingdoms. After all, as long as they weren't at a refuge city, in the wild, as long as sword masters met and fought, then the organizer wouldn't care about their life or death. He added. Lu Mu Yan's eyes lit up. She pointed at the mountain ahead of her and said, that could be considered a good way. Let's also go to a hidden place deep in the mountain to cultivate for a month before going out. Their team was indeed quite weak. If they encountered the other elite team of the EC Empire, they would probably lose a few people. It was better to temporarily avoid revealing their abilities and wait until they have the ability to fight back to act. The spiritual force in this competition space was abundant, and they could even directly absorb and refine demonic beast crystal cores. She could also refine a few types of pills that could improve cultivation bases for the others to take, and after they come out in a month's time, it would definitely be a different scene. If there wasn't enough time, then she could just get Bing Ji to transform and fly over directly. All right. Well, listen to you. Yun Zmo and the others pondered a little, then agreed to her proposal. It would take half a month for them to travel non-stop to the central area from here. It was still feasible for them to take a month to improve their cultivation base. After negotiating, the several people flew towards the thickly forested mountains not far away. Chapter 184. Hide in the mountains. When Lu Mu Yen and the others arrived at the foot of the remote mountains, the entire forested mountain was enveloped by mist and the scenery inside was sometimes visible, sometimes not, giving people a sense of mysteriousness. The remote mountain forest was not an area that must be passed to travel to the central area, but it was a good place to hunt demonic beasts. The map in the Jade Tablet categorized this area as Class 3 Danger Area. We haven't seen any sword masters enter along the way either. We need to be careful. Yun Zmo looked at the remote mountain ahead of them and said. In the competition space, there were 3 types of danger areas, namely Class 1, Class 2, and Class 3. Class 1 was the most dangerous, while Class 3 was relatively less dangerous, but for it to be marked on the map in the Jade Tablet by the organizer meant that it still definitely wasn't that simple. Lu Mu Yen took out a few sachets and handed them to the others. Wear this. There's some medicinal powder in it that can help guard against venomous snakes and insects. The more dangerous the place, the safer it is. Not many sword masters enter here. Let's find a secret place to hide and cultivate. Lu Mu Yen turned around and said to them, follow me well. Mo Yen, lead the way. Lu Mu Yen poked Mo Yan's body and said with a smile. Mo Yan's cold eyes revealed a bit of helplessness. He, a dignified king with his own territory in the demon realm, was often ordered around by this woman. Even if he told other demons, they might not even believe him. But he didn't hesitate either. He jumped off Lu Mu Yan's shoulder and headed into the remote mountain. Lu Mu Yan and the others followed closely behind. They still believed in the ability of this spirit pet of hers. All the way up the mountain, they didn't encounter a single demonic beast, led by Mo Yen to avoid them. Should we kill some demonic beasts to earn points along the way? Qi Yi Xian asked as they walked. Lu Mu Yen didn't turn her head back and said, we can't. Once the killing begins, it'll attract the attention of the high-level demonic beasts deep in the mountains. Our cultivation plan wouldn't be able to be implemented then. That's right. I didn't think it through carefully. Qi Yi Xian pressed his lips together and said. Lu Mu Yen turned to look at him and said, no problems, we can kill when we come out. The several people hid their auras and rushed through the mountains without rest. They encountered venomous snakes and ants, but when those approached, it was as if they smelt something they feared and avoided them in horror. Lu Mu Yan's sachets were highly credited for that. These sachets were also prepared by her before she came. The spiritual force in this remote mountain was much denser than outside, and just walking in the mountains was refreshing. Mo Yen, can you feel the level of the king in this mountain? Lu Mu Yen didn't communicate telepathically and asked in front of the several people. Mo Yen walked in front. There are 3 Tier 7 demonic beasts here, each occupying their own territory. As long as we don't set foot on their core territory, we'll be fine. Are there any spiritual herbs nearby? Lu Mu Yen knew that Mo Yan's nose was very powerful and that he had the innate talent to find spiritual herbs and spiritual items. Mo Yen glanced at her lightly. Naturally there are spiritual herbs and spiritual items here, but many are guarded by demonic beasts. If you want to beat the grass and alert the snake, then I won't stop you. Lu Mu Yen glared at him in amusement. We can cultivate, come out, then go rob them a bit. Her mental energy had been dormant the entire time. Although this was the foreshadowing of its evolution, but if it took too long, it could affect the display of her combat power, so she hoped to find some spiritual herbs to stimulate her mental energy. We're almost there. Mo Yen was now a tier 6 demonic beast, but his demonic sense was at the pinnacle of this interface, so the general situation in this remote mountain was already in his mind. After walking for another hour, the few people emerged from the lush, primitive, remote forest. What they saw was a large waterfall, and below the waterfall was a deep pond. The spiritual force here was even more abundant and denser than outside. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, this place had beautiful scenery, a quiet environment, and abundant spiritual force. It was perfect for cultivation. This place looks very good, so how are there no demonic beasts occupying it? Lu Mu Yen looked at Mo Yen and asked. Mo Yen walked to a tree that had withered and fell to the ground, looked at it casually and said, there should have been a demonic beast occupying this place before, but who knows why it doesn't appear anymore. Either it died or it went out. What if it comes back? Naturally, either we keep it here or we chase it away. Mo Yen raised his eyes, as if saying your questions were very boring. Lu Mu Yen shrugged and looked around. After thinking about it, she took out an array flag from her interspatial ring and 4 jade sculptures of the 4 divine beasts that she had nurtured. She pinched her fingers, then buried it in the ground at the 4 locations of east, south, west and north, and planted the array flag in the middle of the array. Her hands were constantly dancing like butterfly wings, and jade-colored void talismans came out of her palms one by one, landing around the array. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew past, enveloping the surroundings near the waterfall with a veil of mist. What kind of array is this? Yunzi Mo found that this array could block the penetration of mental energy, and it even had the effect of concealing one's aura, so he couldn't resist asking. The combination of the 4 symbols killing array and the 4 symbols illusory array. Lu Mu Yen retracted her hands and said, as long as there are demonic beasts and people passing by, what they'll see is not a waterfall, but an abandoned mountain range. Forceful entry will have them receive the bombardment of the 4 symbols killing array. Her tone was very light, but it shocked the others. They didn't expect that Lu Mu Yan's array attainments had already reached such a level. Such an array was probably something that could only be arranged by a grade 3 array master or higher. In the past, the demonic beast's cave was in the waterfall. You can use its, or you can create a separate one. Mo Yen stared at the center of the waterfall and said, let's go in for a look. Lu Mu Yen had a smile on her lips. She tapped her toes and flew into the waterfall. The others followed suit and flew in. There was a large cave in the depths of the waterfall. The cave was very dry, and the layout was very simple. There was also a cave within the cave, which was probably the den of the demonic beast. Looking at a large piece of snakeskin that had fallen off in the cave, it could be judged that the previous owner of the cave was a snake-type demonic beast. Aside from the snakeskin, they didn't find anything else. There's nothing in this cave. The snake probably either went out or moved out. Lu Mu Yen took a look around and felt that this place was quite suitable for them to cultivate, and she was also too lazy to make another cave. Let's cultivate here. I'll use that cave in the cave to refine pills. Sure. The several people naturally wouldn't object. Since that day, they temporarily lived in this cave. There would be demonic beasts breaking in from time to time, but they were either confused by the array or they were killed by the array after forcing their way in. Lu Mu Yen also spent a few days refining a lot of pills, including those that improved cultivation, replenished elemental energy, nourished elemental energy and one's origins, antidotes, and those for healing. After giving Yunzi Mo and the others a few bottles of grade 3 elemental energy purifying pills, she entered the cave within the cave to absorb the spiritual force of heaven and earth as well, turning it into pure spiritual energy in her dantian while also constantly refining and absorbing the energy of the demonic beast crystal cores. Time passed bit by bit and the rankings on the jade tablet kept jumping, but Lu Mu Yen and the 5 others didn't fluctuate. She also quickly dropped from within the top 50 to below 1,000th. Seeing that the points for the name Lu Mu Yen hadn't changed since that day, many people guessed that she might have already suffered an unexpected death. As expected, she was a person from a small kingdom that wasn't fit to be brought onto the stage. Chapter 185, Take the initiative to come to their door a month later. Lu Mu Yen opened her eyes from the state of cultivation, opened her palms, clenched them again, then punched towards the cave wall casually. Boom! A corner of the cave wall collapsed instantly. She closed her fist and smiled with satisfaction. The result of this 1 month's seclusion was very good. She had entered the third layer of her sorcerer's skill body refinement method 1, and her cultivation base had also risen to peak phase Sword King. As long as there was an opportunity, she could break through to Sword Monarch. This time, not only did her Sword Master's cultivation base improve, but her Immortal Cultivator's cultivation base also broke through from initial phase to middle phase foundation establishment stage. Soon, she would be able to enter final phase foundation establishment stage, then as long as she advanced to core formation stage, her strength would take a high leap in quality. How was cultivating? Lu Mu Yen got up, walked out of the cave, and asked the few people who sat together, chatting and laughing. We all advanced to Sword Monarch. Lu Mu Bai raised his head and replied with a light smile. Yeah. It's all thanks to your pill. Otherwise we wouldn't have been able to successfully advance to Sword Monarch cultivation base this time. Fu Chen said gratefully. Yunlan and Qi Yi Xian were talented from the beginning. After being cleansed by the marrow cleansing pill, their cultivation speed also became much faster. Plus, with the help of Lu Mu Yan's pills this time, they also broke through to Sword Monarch cultivation base, surprising even themselves. Although they were surprised that Lu Mu Yen could refine grade 3 pills, but they didn't ask more questions. There was just a feeling that it simply should be so. Lu Mu Yen held her forehead. It seems that I'm still at the bottom. Although your cultivation base is at the bottom, but your combat power is the strongest among us. A rare smile appeared on Yun Zimo's face. Actually, your cultivation base could really be used as a cover. You can usually perform with average results, but then amaze the world with a single feat. That's true, being low profile is the king's path. The several people looked at her in amusement. It would be strange if she could keep a low profile. We've rested enough. It's time for us to go hunting. Lu Mu Yen moved her fist. She just wanted to try the third layer of her sorcerer skill. Yun Zmo and the others were usually relatively simple and indifferent, but after staying with her for so long, they were instead infected to like to seek stimulation as well. Let's go. Should we hunt in this mountain first? Yunlan asked Lu Mu Yen with a smile. In this team, based on Yun Song and the others' thoughts, Yun Zmo would become their leader, but after more than a month of getting along, including Yun Zmo, they all held Lu Mu Yan's decision first. She gradually became their core. Of course, such a place filled with treasures to score points, we can't miss it. The several people quickly left the cave behind the waterfall. Lu Mu Yen took out the crystal cores of the demonic beasts that accidentally entered her array and was killed, put the array away and left the area together. Mo Yen, directly search for tier 6 demonic beasts to kill. Lu Mu Yen poked Mo Yan's body, indicating that he could start. Tier 5 demonic beasts not only gave few points, but for their current cultivation base, battling them already had no value for training, so their current goals were for tier 6 demonic beasts. Mo Yen glanced at Lu Mu Yen. He must have owed this woman something in his past life, otherwise why was he always being ordered by her? Bing Ji, this time you take them to find tier 6 demonic beasts. Mo Yen swept the 7-colored parrot standing lazily on Lu Mu Yan's shoulder and said coldly. Bing Ji was dazed for a moment, then turned to meet Mo Yan's cold gaze. He laughed dryly. Got it, boss. Boss? When did you acknowledge Mo Yen as boss? Didn't these two demonic beasts always not get along? Just what happened during her seclusion for cultivation? Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, owner, I know. Meow Meow, who was coiled around Lu Mu Yan's wrist, stuck out her head and said in a tender, baby voice, Stinky Bird was often beaten by Boss Yen until he cried for dad and screamed for mum when you were in seclusion, then took the initiative to recognize Boss Yen as boss in the end. Meow Meow had the bloodline of a true dragon to begin with and had been devouring demonic beast crystal cores and pills refined by Lu Mu Yen recently, so she had also successfully broken through to Tier 5. Ordinary demonic beasts could only speak human words at Tier 6, while because of her pure bloodline talent, she could speak human words at just Tier 5, and her body could change freely. Bing J's face darkened. Shut up, what do you, a little baby, know? Don't talk nonsense. Although that was mostly truth, but it was really embarrassing saying that in front of so many people. Not to mention that he was just bullied badly. Where was he crying for dad and screaming for mum? Humph. Meow Meow huffed and rubbed Lu Mu Yan's hand intimately with her head. Lu Mu Yan was the closest to Meow Meow among these spirit pets. She used her finger to rub the head of the little white snake and glanced at Bing Ji. Your boss has spoken, hurry up and get to work. Although the spirit pets seemed to be bickering, but she could feel that their relationship was even closer. It seemed that it was also time to release Shue Shue and have him be in more contact with them. Thinking about hunting demonic beasts, a meaningful smile rose on her lips. Shue Shue should also come out to improve his strength. Right now, the members of their little team didn't have any selfish motives, so it was fine even if they knew about Shue Shue's existence. Bing Ji had a bitter look on his face and he found that he had been unlucky since he met Ming Xiu. Every day, he regretted countless times why his mouth had to be so cheap to harass the beautiful man. Now, he didn't just need to be ordered around by owner, but also by that little pretty boy Mo Yen. Even if Bing Ji's cultivation base was sealed by Ming Xiu, but he was still a Tier 8 demonic beast, and he soon led Lu Mu Yen and the others to the territory of a few Tier 6 demonic beasts. As soon as they stepped into the forest, the Tier 6 demonic beasts in that forest discovered them and even took the initiative to come to their door. You human beings are so daring. How dare you come here to act wildly? There was a total of 5 demonic beasts, all of them in initial phase or middle phase Tier 6, and one of them, a diamond ape, looked at the people unkindly. A flying plume peacock beside him smacked his lips and said, "Wasn't it perfect that they've come to be our food? I haven't drunk the blood of a human sword master for so long. I was originally planning to follow the next beast tide to go eat some human flesh, but now they've sent themselves here to die. Let's help them." A mutant lynx licked his lips and said. Another mottled leopard and wood mammoth were also very excited, as if Lu Mu Yen and the others were already their food. The demonic beasts in this remote forested mountain are not only ignorant but also extremely stupid. Lu Mu Yen shook her head and sighed. Woman, what did you say? Who's extremely stupid? The hot-tempered wood mammoth wasn't having it after hearing her say that. Lu Mu Yen rolled her eyes at him. Of course I'm talking about you all. On our side there's 6 people plus 2 demonic beasts, you've only got 5 demonic beasts, and your cultivation base is also similar to ours. You think we'll be as stupid as you all, just standing here and wait for you to eat us? Humph, what does cultivation base count for in our territory? Prepare to die. After the mutant lynx finished speaking, he raised his head and roared, clearly calling for companions. Lu Mu Yen didn't stop him either. The more he called, the better. As long as they didn't call over a Tier 7 demonic beast, all was good. I pick that wood mammoth, you all share the rest. Lu Mu Yan's eyes locked onto that thick-skinned wood mammoth and her hands were covered in a layer of red fluorescent light. It was no longer obvious that it was fire elemental energy condensation. The wood mammoth felt that he was being belittled. He was actually chosen by the weakest woman in this group of humans. This was a kind of humiliation. He roared and charged towards Lu Mu Yen first. He must tear this human into pieces and devour her. Come true one. I bet while writing this novel, the author was like, I finally thought of a good name for this body refining method, let's use it now. First time hearing about Sorcerer's body refining method in this novel? Same. XD random note, hahaha old news, but Qi Yi Xian eventually got his marrow cleansing pill he didn't get long ago. So just remain as good friends with LMY and you won't regret it. XD. Chapter 186. Explosive increase in points. Lu Mu Yen saw that the wood mammoth took the initiative to come at her, and her eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Excellent, come at me. After speaking, she tapped her toes and flew up, landing directly on the back of the wood mammoth and bombarded him with punch after punch. The wood mammoth was furious and ran around everywhere trying to toss her off his back, but it was as if she was stuck there, and he couldn't get rid of her no matter what. A burning sensation of pain transmitted from his back. What was that woman's hand made of? Not only was it so tough, but it also had flames. It was hurting him to death. The wood mammoth roared a few times and slammed into the surrounding trees continuously. Lu Mu Yen revealed interest in her eyes. Seemed like this mammoth wasn't too stupid, he still knew how to use a branch to scrape her off. She also wanted to try the mammoth's attack front on, so she jumped off his back and slammed her fists into the mammoth's face. The mammoth was indeed a Tier 6 demonic beast. He covered his head with the demonic energy of his entire body. Although the opponent's fist that bombarded him made him a little dizzy, but because of the barrier formed by his demonic energy, the scorching fist winds were also blocked by more than half. Why does your younger sister like hand-to-hand combat so much? Truly how violent. Fu Chen's lips couldn't help twitching when he saw Lu Mu Yan's choice of fighting method. Lu Mu Bai glanced at him. My little sister is different, I just like her this violent. After he finished speaking, he took the initiative to greet the mutant lynx whose speed was his biggest advantage. After advancing their strength, the rest were also rubbing their fists and palms, and chose a demonic beast each to battle. Yunzi Mo saw that the demonic beasts were all divided up by the few people, and his eyes that were as dark and thick as ink were dyed with a smile. He hugged his arms and leaned against a tree to watch the battle. Roar! The combat power of the few were good to begin with. Although they were in the territory of demonic beasts, but they had the upper hand. Lu Mu Yen even beat the wood mammoth until it was dodging east and hiding west. Her movements were very flexible. No matter how he dodged, he simply couldn't escape her fiery fist. Ground fracture. The wood mammoth stomped on the ground one huge foot after one huge foot. His demonic energy exploded in an instant and cracks appeared on the ground, attacking Lu Mu Yen directly. Lu Mu Yen curled her lips into a smile. Facing the crevices with strong demonic energy, she slammed a few palms, causing ravines to spread across the earth. The wood mammoth used many methods, but none of the attacks could truly land on Lu Mu Yen. His entire body was screaming in pain, and he suffered indescribable agony. Didn't they say that all human women were made of water? Why was this woman even more violent than them, demonic beasts? He wanted to die. Several demonic beasts had turned into their strongest true forms, but they only had the upper hand for a short moment before they were suppressed by their opponents. When they were about to lose, rumblings suddenly sounded from the mountains. The wood mammoth was overjoyed. Their reinforcements had come. He turned and glared at Lu Mu Yen fiercely, wishing to eat her flesh and drink her blood. Lu Mu Yan's eyes turned cold. She also heard that there were a lot of demonic beasts running over, and she immediately released the human-eating blood thorn vine king. Owner, you finally remembered me. Shui looked at Lu Mu Yen with an aggrieved expression. Bing Ji, that stinky thing, often came into the spirit beast ring to show off, and he just wanted to go out and also follow owner every day. Lu Mu Yen held her forehead. Stop. Don't learn Bing Ji's disgusting manner. Then she pointed in the direction of the wood mammoth and said, You've been hungry for a long time. Today you can eat as you like. Shui saw that the wood mammoth opposite was full of marks from being bombarded by fists. It seemed that it must be owner's masterpiece. Little owner, mighty. He didn't delay either. After all, he hadn't drunk blood until his fill for many years. He embedded his rhizome deeply into the ground below, waved his dark golden main branch and grabbed towards the wood mammoth. The wood mammoth had lived here for many years but had never seen such a demonic plant. However, the palpitations of danger spread throughout his body. He instinctively turned around and ran, but he couldn't match Shui's speed. In only a bit, he was captured by Shui's vines. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, the small thorns on the golden vines instantly pierced into the wood mammoth's body, and the paralyzing toxin spread all over his body. He fell heavily to the ground, and his copper, bell-like eyes were filled with terror, as if he had already felt the shadow of death. On the contrary, Shui was extremely excited and quickly absorbed the blood essence of the wood mammoth. In only a moment, an incomparably huge Tier 6 wood mammoth was sucked into dried meat. "You're not allowed to eat the crystal core." Seeing Shui roll up a yellowish-brown crystal core and about to feed it into his humanized mouth on his tree trunk, Lu Mu Yan immediately flew up and snatched the crystal core. "Earth attribute crystal cores are still useful to me. You just suck the blood." Lu Mu Yan rolled her eyes at the extremely aggrieved Shui. Did he think she didn't know? Sucking blood essence had better effect for human-eating blood thorn vines than consuming crystal cores. "Go, suck up those demonic beasts too." Lu Mu Yan kicked him when she saw that he was staring at the crystal core in her hand, reluctant to give it up. "You look so unpromising, how embarrassing." Hearing what owner said, the human-eating blood thorn vine king immediately shook with energy, turned his head, and narrowed his eyes at the demonic beasts who were fighting with Lu Mu Bai and the others. That fiery gaze almost turned those demonic beasts into dust. Seeing that the wood mammoth was sucked into dry meat by the Tier 6 demonic plant, then being stared at by his scorching gaze, their scalps went numb. "Quickly leave." The mutant lynx shouted and fled towards the depths of the forest. The other demonic beasts didn't delay either and fled in different directions, for fear that they would become food of the terrifying demonic plant if they were one step late. However, their opponent was the human-eating blood thorn vine king who had gained intelligence for many years already. He had already laid countless vine trap nets underground. The few demonic beasts were all restrained by the golden vines. As soon as the blood thorns pierced their body, they all felt unable to move. They could only feel the blood in their bodies being drained bit by bit with fear in their eyes, and their aura of life also gradually vanished together. Human-eating blood thorn vine king. Yunzi Mo's cold and unwavering eyes revealed surprise, and the others also watched. With numb scalps, the golden-colored plant excitedly sucked the blood essence of the demonic beasts. Aside from Lu Mu Bai and Yunlan, none of them thought that Lu Mu Yan would still have such a terrifying demonic plant spirit pet. Most importantly, it was also a Tier 6 demonic plant king. Just what sort of trump cards did this woman have left? The more they came into contact with Lu Mu Yan, the more shocked they were. Towards her endless methods, they grew from shock to numbness. When Lu Mu Yan found that her name on the jade tablet began to jump again, she immediately stopped Shui. "Leave them alive first." Yet who knew that she shouted it one step too late. She said with embarrassment to Yunlan and the others, "I forgot you won't get points if you don't kill these demonic beasts first. Later, before this ruffian sucks and eats, you kill them first." "All right." They weren't people who were fussy. Seeing her rare display of embarrassment, their eyes were filled with smiles. Roar. The roar of demonic beasts sounded one after another. More than 20 Tier 5 or 6 demonic beasts came stampeding over. It was just that they had yet to even come close when they were all caught by Shui's vine net that he had long planted as ambushes. This time, Lu Mu Yan had him leave a breath for the demonic beasts, and only after Lu Mu Bai and the others killed them first did he devour all their blood essence. The demonic beasts called for friends and companions, and they came in waves from all directions, opening up all the pores of Shui's body, excitedly preparing for a feast. Lu Mu Yan's point soared again, and the speed was even faster than the first day. It only took an hour to soar from around 700 points to more than 2,000 points, also frightening many sword masters. Meanwhile, in the nearest cave deep in this remote forested mountain, a man with blue tattoos on the side of his face opened his eyes that were filled with ice. There is actually a human sword master who dares kill so freely in this king's territory. Seeking death. After speaking, he narrowed his eyes dangerously and he disappeared from the cave in a flash. Chapter 187 Escape. The Tier 5 and Tier 6 demonic beasts came wave after wave, but as soon as they stepped in, they were restrained by the escape-proof net that the human-eating blood-thorn vine king set up and violently sucked dry of blood essence. The surroundings were filled with the corpses of demonic beasts that had been sucked dry, leaving not a drop of blood. Looking at this scene, Yunzi-Mo and the others all felt that their scalp was numb. If a Tier 6 demonic beast intruded, Lu Muyen would let them fight first to hone their combat ability, and when it was around enough, would she let Xue Xue drink to his fill. The Tier 7 demonic beast is coming. Mo Yan's originally indifferent eyes narrowed. Bing Ji also noticed that the aura was constantly approaching, then he flapped his wings and said, "What are you afraid of? It's just a Tier 7 little vermin." Fu Chen and the others were speechless after hearing his words. Wasn't the 7-colored parrot's tone too arrogant? He was only just a parrot too. Lu Muyen reached out her hand and knocked Bing Ji's head, saying telepathy, "Don't forget that you're currently only at Tier 6 cultivation base. Well, act according to the circumstance in a bit. If we can't handle it, well, run." Bing Ji was instantly like a deflated ball and complained, "It's all that red-clothed beautiful man's fault, stealing my demonic energy, otherwise little master, we'll sweep this remote mountain." "Humph, there's a peak phase Tier 8 demon king in the core area of this remote mountain. Even if we don't seal your demonic energy, you wouldn't be able to win either." Mo Yen glanced at Bing Ji. Lu Muyen furrowed her brows. "Didn't you say there are only 3 Tier 7 demonic beasts? How did a peak phase Tier 8 demonic beast king come into the picture? Before, he should have been dormant so his aura couldn't be felt, but he woke up in the last few days." Mo Yen said. "If that peak phase Tier 8 demon king came, then we'll be doomed. After killing this wave of demonic beasts, we should leave as soon as possible." Lu Muyen just had an indescribable sense of crisis. "What about the Tier 7 demonic beast?" Bing Ji asked. Lu Muyen spread out her hands, shrugging, "Don't know. If we can't beat it, well, just run. Ming Xiu only sealed your demonic energy, but not your flying speed." The reason why they weren't afraid of the Tier 7 demonic beasts before was mainly because they had Bing Ji who could help them escape. "Mu Yen, is there really a Tier 7 demonic beast coming?" Yun Lan's handsome face revealed a bit of gravity. Lu Muyen nodded, looked into the distance not far away and said, "It's already here." After her words fell, an unfamiliar aura suddenly locked onto this area. Wave after waves of high-level pressure attacked, and Yunzi-Mo and the others' faces paled. Pu Qi Yixian and Yunlan, who were slightly weaker, were injured internally by the pressure and spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. Lu Muyan's eyes turned cold and she kept forming seals in front of her chest. A jade-colored rune flew out of her body, enveloping the several people. With the shield made of void talismans, the pressure weakened a lot. The blood that the few people were about to spit out from their chests were suppressed. "Oh. There's some competence." A white-clothed man with blue tattoos on the side of his face came out from the void. As soon as the man approached, Lu Muyen smelled a familiar scent. "He's the original owner of the cave behind the waterfall." Mo Yan's telepathic voice sounded in her mind. Lu Muyen also found that the smell from the man's body was the same as the snakeskin in the cave, and an understanding rose in her eyes. The cave was probably the place where this demon cultivator resided when he was a Tier 6 before. It was only after he advanced to Tier 7 did he change to a better place to cultivate. "How dare you come here to kill, you're seeking death." The man swept his gaze over the dry corpses on the ground with a displeased expression and said coldly. He didn't actually care much about the dead demonic beasts, but to kill on his territory had already provoked his dignity. "We're just standing here, they sent themselves to our door." Lu Muyen said with an indifferent expression and her arms folded. "No matter the reason, you have only a dead end." The man's eyes were grim and cold, like a venomous snake flicking their forked tongues. Lu Muyan's lips curled up. She could kill Tier 6 demonic beasts now, but she hadn't yet fought a Tier 7. She could give it a try. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, it's not up to you to decide whether we live or die. Lu Muyan's eyes were filled with fighting intent, and she stepped out of the shield made of runes, walking towards the man. "Yenner, come back." Lu Mubai was anxious. Little sister was too reckless. Lu Muyen turned her head and smiled, saying, "Elder brother, it's all right, if I can't beat him, then I'll run." She said this, but it couldn't reduce the worry in the hearts of the several people. But they also knew her temperament, and the things she decided to do couldn't be pulled back by even 10 horses, so they could only watch with hovering hearts. "Ha, you, a little girl, is going to challenge this king?" The man raised an eyebrow with interest in his eyes. Lu Muyan's hand was enveloped with a faint red light. "Yes." "Arrogant," the man said disdainfully. "Let's fight." Lu Muyen tapped her toes after she finished speaking and flew up, punching the man. The man's eyes were indifferent, and with a light wave of his palm, Lu Muyan's fist power was resolved, while the remaining force attacked her chest. With a smirk on her lips, she used flash steps. Her steps were light, and her body moved like a ghost, quickly avoiding the remaining force of the palm strike. Boom! The palm wind instantly knocked down countless trees behind where she preciously was. When the several people within the shield saw that, their heartbeats were about to stop. Lu Muyan's hand were clenched into claws. She approached the man and kept clawing at him, and the several people only saw a phantom, occasionally appearing, then disappearing. The man also put away his inattentiveness at this time. He didn't expect that this little woman with a seemingly weak cultivation base was actually somewhat competent. He raised his hand and met Lu Muyan's fists or claws with his palms one by one, then the two of them kept clashing against each other in another close-quarters combat. Pu. After a while, Lu Muyan's figure flew out and slammed into a big tree heavily, blood spurting out of her mouth. Yenner/Muyen. The several people couldn't resist shouting when they saw her injured. She reached out her hand and wiped the blood from her lips, the fighting intent in her eyes not decreasing, refreshing. After she started cultivating the sorcerer's skill body refining method, this was the first time she was injured during close-quarters combat. Her internal organs were a little damaged right now, but in the battle just now, she actually found a sense of comprehension. It seemed that one really indeed had to fight against people or demons stronger than oneself to improve. This Snake King was indeed very strong. She raised her head, then utilized the tree to jump up and threw out punches several more times faster than before. This was her limit. The Snake King hadn't moved his bones and muscles for a long time. Seeing that this woman was very tough, he planned to play with her a bit before killing her. So for the first time, he moved his foot and flew up. Boom boom. The fists of the two met one after another. The surrounding earth trembled, and the trees were affected, collapsing one by one. Lu Muyen and the man's cultivation base was too far apart. She could keep up in terms of understanding, but speed was still lacking. After dozens of rounds of bombardment, she was slammed in the chest by the man's palm and flew out hundreds of meters, spewing a few mouthfuls of blood. Pu. She clutched her chest, lowered her eyes, and pondered, recalling the battle just now as she muttered to herself, "So that's how it is, my previous direction seems to be a bit wrong." Dozens of rounds of battles gave her a deeper understanding of her own body refining method. The man suddenly looked towards the depths of the forest in the distance, and his eyes moved obscurely onto Lu Muyen. "This king will send you all to death now." Lu Muyen's eyes narrowed, used flash steps to dash into the shield and shouted at Bing Ji, "Escape. Come true." Chapter 188, The sense of crisis was deepening. Escape. As soon as Lu Muyan's voice sounded, Bing Ji instantly turned into his true form, and with a swing of his wings, he tossed Lu Mubai and the others onto his back. Then he spread his wings and flew towards the periphery of the remote mountain. The Snake King obviously didn't expect that there would be a Tier 6 Ice One hidden in the midst. He felt that he was made a fool of. Hiss hiss. A few hissing sounds carrying boundless demonic energy sounded, and a giant white snake hundreds of meters long flew up directly into the sky, opening his mouth and bit towards the Ice One. Yunzi Mo and the others were all stunned by the demonic energy of the roar just now. When the large mouth approached, 10 golden small swords flew out from Lu Muyan's body, carrying the pressure of a saint tool, whirling directly towards the snake's mouth. The Snake King's big, bucket-like eyes constricted, and the snake head slanted a bit, barely dodging the 10 flying swords. The flying swords, however, spun around and shot towards his weak point. Hiss! He swept his tail heavily and swung the 10 flying swords away. But Lu Muyan's natal magic tool was made of heavenly frost golden essence and several rare materials. Its sharpness was incomparable with other saint tools. While the flying swords were slapped away, a few large gaps were also torn on the tail by the sword aura. The white scales were stained with red blood. While the flying swords that had lost its center of gravity was instantly brought back into Lu Muyan's body. Bing Ji also used the few breaths of time that the flying swords bought to escape from the range of the remote mountains. As soon as the huge snake head touched the layer of mist that shrouded the remote mountains, it stopped, as if he were very afraid of the outside world. His eyes were filled with anger and coldness. Damned humans. He had lived for thousands of years, and this was the first time he had encountered such a situation, and it was also the first time he had been hurt by a human being. This grievance couldn't be swallowed at all. But after remembering one thing, he turned into a human figure again, and a sneer appeared on his lips. So what if you escape this time? When that time comes, this king will tear you all to pieces. After speaking, he glanced at the mist in disgust, then turned and disappeared into the forest. Before she prepared to escape, Lu Muyan had retrieved the reluctant Xue Xue into the spirit beast ring already. Bing Ji flew maniacally all the way. Seeing that the Snake King hadn't chased them here, he landed in a desolate area with no one. Yenner, are you alright? Lu Mubai asked in concern. Yunzi Mo and the others also cast worried looks towards her. This woman was truly so daring, even daring to provoke a Tier 7 Snake King. They really didn't know what to say. Lu Muyan took a bottle of healing pills and waved her hand dismissively. No problem. The Snake King's cultivation base was at middle phase Tier 7, which was equivalent to a high-level sword sovereign, and he also contained a trace of Jiao bloodline, making him very strong. With her current cultivation base at peak phase Sword King, being able to fight him a few dozen rounds was all thanks to the sorcerer skill. This time, although she was injured in the battle, but it helped her understand a few points that she didn't understand when cultivating the sorcerer skill. She didn't regret the impulsive decision, and the fighting spirit in her body hadn't completely faded. That Snake King doesn't seem to dare to step out of that remote mountain. She telepathically said to Mo Yen. Mo Yen's indifferent eyes had a little more complexity. Indeed, he can't step out of the remote mountain, but not because there's something blocking his steps. Instead, he seemed to be afraid of something. I just feel like there are a lot of secrets hidden in this competition space. Lu Muyen reached out and pinched between her eyebrows. The sense of crisis not only didn't weaken, but was deepening. Mo Yen nodded. Indeed. Maybe we'll meet the Snake King in the future again. You've made a huge mess again. Although he said this, but his tone was very indifferent. Obviously, he didn't really take the Snake King to heart. Lu Muyen rolled her eyes at him. What did this have to do with her? Even if she didn't fight the Snake King wouldn't let them go either. When there's a lot of debt, you don't worry anymore. No problems. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. It was still best to improve her strength as soon as possible. She already made 2 huge enemies as soon as she entered here. She found that she really was going all out. You should hurry up and advance to Sword Monarch soon. Mo Yen had a smile in his eyes. It'll teach you a secret skill after you advance to Sword Monarch. That way, when you encounter that Tier 7 Snake King, you won't have to run away. Lu Muyan's eyes lit up. Then he'll have to advance quickly. Mo Yan's secret skill definitely wouldn't be weak. The few people recovered for 2 hours, then began to rush. It's getting dark. We need 4 hours before we could arrive at the next refuge city. Yunzi Mo looked at the color of the sky and said. the several people didn't ask about Bing Ji. In their eyes, Lu Mu Yen doing something out of the ordinary had only become a matter of course, and they were already numb to her tricks. It's alright, either way, we have to earn points. If we encounter a group of demonic beasts on the road, then just kill them. Lu Mu Yen looked at her jade tablet where she was currently ranked around 4,000 and was very dissatisfied. She should go out every day to kill demonic beasts these few days. How many points would she obtain for killing a tier 7 Snake King? If she could advance into Sword Monarch cultivation base within the specified time during the points competition, she didn't mind swinging around to kill him, turning that arrogant Snake King into points. In a refuge city in the south, Yi Qinghan held the jade tablet tightly, then retrieved his gaze after a while. The jade tablet in his hand was green, indicating that the strength of the empire he belonged to was around the middle. Lu Mu Yen and the others' points have stopped. It seems that they should have reached a refuge city. Mu Yi put away the jade tablet in his hand and said, I just knew she wouldn't have fallen. When he mentioned Lu Mu Yen, Yi Qinghan's handsome face glowed with a soft light that even he didn't notice. After Lu Mu Yan's points skyrocketed on the first day, there was no movement. This sort of calm lasted for a month. Many people guessed that she had fallen, but he didn't believe it. Until today, when Lu Mu Yan's name started to fly straight up in the rankings again, did his heart that had been hovering finally fall back down. There wasn't much expression on Shifeng's face that looked as if it had face paralysis, but his tone was much more relaxed. I wonder when we'll meet again. Next to the three of them sat Ling Fei Yang. He touched a string of golden beads on his wrist and his eyes revealed some anticipation. The entries for the pupils of the 10 distinguished clans were all divided among the 4 strongest empires in the eastern region. The entries for each clan were determined by their own clans. One clan had 2 entries. In the Ling clan, after Ling Fei Yang's legs healed, he and Ling Fei Hao were chosen. As night fell, beast roars suddenly sounded in the originally quiet mountain. Lines of black shadows sprang out from the mountains and moved around. I found that the high-level demonic beasts in this space basically don't step out of the mountain forest during the day and start to become active at night, as if they have no scruples. Yunlan listened to the demonic beasts roar louder and louder than the previous as he said. Lu Mu Yen also noticed this problem. If they encountered the Snake King tonight, they might be chased by him constantly. Maybe it's because of the human powerhouses. She didn't find any arrays or restrictions on the periphery of the forest and couldn't think of other possibilities except for human reasons. There's a demonic beast tide coming in our direction, get ready to fight. A rare trace of fighting intent flashed past Yun Zimo's black eyes. After hanging with Lu Mu Yen more, he also instinctively liked excitement and stimulation. The speed of the demonic beasts was very fast and in less than a quarter of an hour, they all surrounded Lu Mu Yen and the others. With a visual estimation, there was about a few hundred in the first wave. After the calls of the several tier 6 demonic beasts, more demonic beasts continued to gather in this direction, forming a small beast tide. Let's kill, it's time to earn points. Lu Mu Yan's lips curled up and with a flash, she rushed towards the leading tier 6 demonic beasts in the back. Chapter 189, Earning Point Strategy. A small beast tide was formed and there were about 1,000 demonic beasts that gathered, most of them around tier 4 or 5. Lu Mu Yen fought with the tier 6 demonic beast while releasing all her spirit pets. At this time, having a lot of spirit pets sure was nice, as they were equivalent to cheats. Seeing this, the other people also released their spirit pets. With so many demonic beasts, they wouldn't even be able to kill them all. Before Lu Mu Bai came here, he contracted an initial phase tier 6 water crocodile that Lu Mu Yen specifically caught for him, and he also released him right now. The demonic beasts contracted by the others were all tier 5. Ah! Owner, this is really a feng shui 1 treasure place, so many demonic beasts, I like it. The human-eating blood thorn vine king shouted excitedly as soon as he was released from the spirit beast ring. Back in the Sunset Cloud Mountain range, he wasn't even able to see many living demonic beasts in a year in his territory. Being limited by that abnormal monster, he also didn't dare step out of those golden thorn bushes. Remembering it now, it was all snot and tears. Fortunately, he met little owner. Being able to open up his belly to absorb blood essence was something he had never experienced when he was in the Sunset Cloud Mountain range. The bottleneck that he had reached had also been loosened. If there were a few more beast tides like this, he would be able to break through. Embedding his main root into the ground, Shui stretched his golden vines to the surrounding Tier 4 and 5 demonic beasts. In just a moment, the ground was covered with countless drained demonic beast corpses. Mo Yen knew the function of points, so although he disliked it, but he also took action. His body suddenly grew bigger, and each slap of his paw would kill one. Because Bing Ji already revealed his true form, Lu Mu Yen didn't tell him to go play on the side either. He turned into an ice swan and swept the surroundings of Tier 4 and 5 demonic beasts, venting all his recent frustrations. With a wave of his wings, demonic beasts that rushed up without fearing death fell to the ground and died one after another. Even Miao Miao couldn't be idle anymore. She flew out of Lu Mu Yan's hand, turned into a huge python and swallowed mouthful after mouthful of the constantly besieging demonic beasts. Don't you all kill them all. Leave a breath for me to suck and eat. Seeing that his companions were so mighty, Shui couldn't resist shouting. There was a difference in effect of absorbing the blood essence of a living demonic beast to absorbing one that was died. Seeing how Lu Mu Yan's demonic beasts looked as if they were all overstimulated, scrambling to freely kill, and how in only a short while, only a third were left of over 1,000 demonic beasts, Fu Chen and the others couldn't resist twitching their eyelids. Wasn't this speed too exaggerated? What sort of spirit pets did she raise? Sure enough, with what kind of owner, there would be what kind of spirit pet. You all take it easy and leave some points for others. Lu Mu Yen couldn't resist twitching the corners of her lips seeing her own spirit pets act as if they hadn't killed in several lifetimes. Could they stop being so violent? After listening to her calls, the speed of the several demonic beasts slowed down. Mo Yen retracted his noble claws and jumped onto Lu Mu Yan's shoulder, no longer participating. To think he actually also lowered himself to kill low-level demonic beasts in groups. If those guys knew about it, they definitely would die of laughter. An hour later, the small beast tide that had gathered were all disintegrated by them and there wasn't a single surviving demonic beast. This efficacy was too fast and the points of the several people had also risen a lot. I only grew a bit more than 100 ranks, isn't this too slow? Lu Mu Yen picked up her jade tablet and looked at the rankings, furrowing her brows while saying. If they went out to find demonic beasts to kill in the daytime, it would be even slower. By the time they reached the central city it might even be difficult for them to reach above 1,000th. This speed is already very fast. After all, we're a month behind others. Yunzi Mo saw that she disliked that her ranking was too low. How about this? Lu Mu Yan's lively eyes turned as she smiled and said, in the future, well, rest in the refuge city during the day and travel at night. Otherwise it'll be difficult to advance to the top 10 at this speed. Advance to the top 10, she sure dared to think about it. Fu Chen pondered, then asked, what if we accidentally encounter a large beast tide? It was indeed easy to deal with such a small beast tide, but if they encountered a large beast tide, it would be difficult for them to escape. Otherwise, other sword masters would long have done something like resting during the day and rushing to earn points at night. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. What they encountered in the first refuge city that day was only a medium-sized beast tide, and it was already that difficult to deal with, let alone a large one. Most importantly, the appearance of a large beast tide generally meant a Tier 7 demonic beast leader, so once they encountered one, they would definitely die. Won't happen, with Mo Yen, wherever Tier 7 demonic beasts appear, we can all avoid them. Lu Mu Yen currently found that Mo Yen really was the perfect cheat. His demonic sense could sweep the auras within thousands of li too. The moment they discover a Tier 7 demonic beast or a large beast tide, they could immediately change direction or run away on Bing J's back. The reason why they didn't use Bing Ji directly to travel was for training. They really couldn't rely too much on the ability of spirit pets. Sure, if that's the case, then it should be no problem for our points to reach above 1,000th. Yunzi Mo's eyes were filled with a smile. He had heard that a large number of sword masters would be eliminated in the preliminary round, but as long as the points remained above 1,000th, then they could enter the second elimination round. Lu Muyen glanced at him. Don't be so unpromising, my goal is the Jade Tablet rewards of the top 10. Cough, cough. Yunzi Mo felt a little awkward and embarrassed after being glanced at by her. Then after thinking about it, he said with a smile, then our goal is to be in the top 100. With a little abnormal monster like Lu Muyen, and earning points at such a rate, they at least had some hope of entering the top 100. The others were also infected by Lu Muyen and their hearts were filled with passion. She even dared to think and do it. Why did they dare not to as men? Yi Qinghan and the others who were sitting cross-legged, recovering in the resting rooms of the refuge city suddenly opened their eyes and looked at the jade tablet in their hands. Lu Muyen and the others' points have started to skyrocket again. Mu Yi said in surprise. Could it be that a beast tide attacked a city? Shifeng looked at the constantly jumping ranks and guessed. Such a speed of points increasing usually only happened when a beast tide attacked a city. Yi Qinghan played with the jade tablet in his hand and chuckled. She's about to catch up to us. We can't be too weak either. Their current rankings had been maintained at around 1,000th. Originally, they were going to exert their strength in the last half a month, but now that they were being chased like this by Lu Muyen, they had a little more hope and passion in their hearts. Indeed. If we keep holding back, Yenner will probably surpass us in a short time. Ling Fei Yang had a light and joyous smile on his gentle and elegant face. Then let's freely earn points tomorrow. Mu Yi raised an eyebrow. The points race with Lu Muyen and the others was also a kind of fun adjustment to their boring life. Killing along the way, Lu Muyen and the others arrived at the refuge city at dawn. When they entered the city, many sword masters were on their way out of the city, and when these people saw that the group had only just entered the city, they all revealed some scrutiny and doubts, but they didn't pay much attention either. After all, they still needed to go out to hunt demonic beasts and earn points. During the day, the inns were practically empty. They booked 6 principal rooms and started to rest and recover. At night, when other sword masters entered the refuge city, they began to go out to hunt demonic beasts. Such actions also aroused the curiosity of many people, but because it was night, other sword masters didn't dare to follow them to find out. At night, the 6 people killed demonic beasts to their heart's content to earn points. Every night, they would encounter several waves of small beast tides, and they also encountered a medium beast tide once. Under Lu Muyen and her few abnormally monstrous spirit pets' maniacal killings, they were also wiped out completely. Such a situation continued for 7 or 8 days. When Lu Muyen and the others' scores soared into the top 1,000th, it also attracted the attention of many sword masters of large kingdoms. Come true, one people may have heard of feng shui before, and for those who haven't, it's basically the belief that the placement of things make a place lucky or unlucky. It literally translates to wind water, but I'm keeping it as feng shui. In real life, it's common for new, superstitious house owners to hire a feng shui master to come and take a look at the interior of their house, etc., and tell them where they should arrange their furniture for good luck and fortune. They might even ask a feng shui master to recommend them good places to buy a home. This is because feng shui also extends to the placement of mountains, rivers, and nature, etc. Even graveyards have their own feng shui involved, such as having tombstones facing or not facing certain directions, etc. Buildings might also be built a certain way, like having their buildings' entrances face south for fortune, etc. So in this case, Xue Xue is just exclaiming that what a nice place this was, since there are so many demonic beasts that he loves here, ha ha ha. A feng shui treasure place is usually used to describe lucky places. 21 li is approximately 500 meters. Note, I was on a translating spree the past 2 days and translated a lot, so I decided to randomly upload 2 chapters today XD, or first update of the day depending on your time zone, ha ha ha. Chapter 190. Attention of numerous parties. As the night got darker, a red-clothed man stood on the wall of a large city in the north. The gentle breeze lifted his sleeves, flamboyantly fluttering. There were 4 men and 1 woman standing behind him. One of the men looked at the 6 names that were rising in rankings on the jade tablet and said in a hoarse voice, "Their names start jumping the moment it turns to night, and the skyrocketing speed is extremely fast." The one named Lu Mu Yen was the one who broke into the top 50 on the first day, right? The only woman among them said, "Lu Mu Yen?" They must have chosen the strategy of resting during the day and traveling at night to earn points. The red-clothed man standing on the city wall played with the jade tablet in his hand with a hint of interest in his casual tone. One of them furrowed their brows and said, "They're too bold. Aren't they afraid of encountering a large-sized beast tide? One must know, even us and Mo Ling's group dare not go out in the middle of the night. Their luck is very good. This kind of points advancement has lasted for 8 days." The man who had been silent the entire time said, "Continue to pay attention to the trend of their points. If they advance into the top 100, then that'll be interesting." The red-clothed man hopped down the city wall indifferently. Tonight was another quiet night. No fun. Above a large city in the east, stood a man who exuded a sense of pride, aloofness, and coolness. He looked down at the jade tablet in his hand and murmured, "Not dead yet? Interesting." At the same time, in a castle in the core area of the competition space, more than a dozen people were sitting in a large room. There was a wall made of spar in front of them. At this time, images were being reflected on the wall, precisely the situation of the contestants in the competition field right now. When this special space was discovered back then, several almighty spent hundreds of years setting up an array, among which was an array within an array where images took shape and could be reflected on the specially made spar walls. Except for Class 3 danger areas and within refuge cities, the situation everywhere else could be seen. This was also so that it was made convenient for the 6 major sects during each tournament to select pupils with outstanding talents or special abilities. When the screen shifted to a large plain, everyone saw a stunning young woman rushing towards the leading Tier 6 demonic beast behind the beast tide. Her movements were like a ghost, and her fists were comparable to black iron. Fists bombarded one after another, and under the most primitive close-quarters combat, the loser was actually the demonic beast. Among them, a red-haired and red-bearded old man's eyes lit up, slapped his thigh, and said, "This girl's body is already as strong as a Tier 6 demonic beast. What a good seedling." He was an elder of the vast mountain sect among the 6 major sects that specialized in body refining. She actually owns 4 high-level spirit pets. It seems that she's a spirit beast master. We want this girl. A cyan-clothed elderly man stared at the spirit pets Lu Mu Yen released, his eyes filled with sharp light. A demonic plant so rare it was hard to come by even in 1,000 years, the descendant of a Cyan 1, and even a Tier 6, this girl's contracting talent was probably heaven-defying. Their spirit tamers sect definitely wouldn't let go of such a genius. A tall and thin middle-aged man sitting at the back kept his eyes fixed on Lu Mu Yan's 10 golden flying swords and narrowed his eyes. "I think she is best at swordsmanship. Look at her magic tool, it could be combined and separated and kills the enemy with sharpness. She's more suitable for our sword sect. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site." "Thanks, damned your mothers, didn't you see that she has been using arrays to lock the demonic beasts in the entire beast tide?" A ruddy elderly man among them stood up and pointed to a location and said, "Look, she can easily set up a 4 symbols killing array. She is best at arrays, so naturally she should come to our 8 Extremes sect." The 8 Extremes sect mainly focused on smithing and arrays and had many pupils with talent in arrays. It was rare to see such a young person with such strong array attainments. He just wanted to go recruit her right now into the sect. "No, no." An elegant-looking middle-aged man said with a gentle smile, "Did you not discover that the pills in her hands had not stopped? Such extravagance of devouring pills to replenish elemental energy to kill demonic beasts are only present in 2 possibilities. One is that her background is from an alchemist clan, or 1, she's an alchemist herself. If she's an alchemist, our medicine sect will make a reservation first." Then he added, "Rubbish, you also know that it's as difficult as ascending to the heavens in finding a young pupil with talent in arrays. It's rare for me to meet one, don't you all try to compete with me." "What do you mean?" "It's not easy to find a good seedling with such a tough body, why should I let you? I say that a little miss like her is more suitable to be a spirit beast master." The several people instantly fought over Lu Mu Yen with red faces and crimson ears, no one wishing to let go of such a good seedling. A white-haired elderly man with a calm expression, and eyes that were unwavering and unshaken, carrying a boundless deepness slowly said, "The preliminary round isn't even over yet, aren't you all too impatient? Whether she's a phoenix or a sparrow, we will know after a year's time. What's the use of you snatching for her now?" Hearing the elderly man's words, the elders of the major sects who were arguing also stopped. That was true. It was useless for them to compete now. The selection of the 6 major sects was from the last 100 people in the finals. Of course, if this girl didn't make it into the top 100, they could also find a way to get her into the sect. At the worst, she could just start as an outer pupil. There's another most important point. The white-haired old man knew clearly what these people were thinking, and after the room was silent, he continued, "She already attracted the attention of many talented sword masters of the generation from large countries. Whether she could live until the end is also a question. You should all save your energy. This girl was indeed really good. If she could successfully enter the top 100, then they, the Heavenly Secret Palace, would definitely take her." Seeing that the enthusiasm and light in many people's eyes still hadn't faded, the white-haired old man fell silent and hid the strange color in his eyes as he said with a smile, "Although her talent is exceptional, but she learnt too many things. Learning was considered best when focusing on being proficient in something. Her future achievements may not necessarily be outstanding." After listening to his words, many people hesitated. When they thought about it carefully, she really did know too many things. This kind of talent could be considered heaven-defying, but it was also because she knew too many things that she could be distracted. It was hard to say if she could be raised to become an elite pupil in the future. However, the elders of the major sects weren't fools either to be shaken by the white-haired old man's words. They decided to pay more attention to this girl in this year. If she really had the strength to advance into the top 100 of the finals, then they'll definitely snatch her. Sitting in the corner, a white-clothed man whose beauty was beyond a mortal looked at the lovely figure that was constantly flashing within the beast tide with a gentle gaze, the corners of his lips rising slightly. "Woman, you really won't let me down." Lu Mu Yen, who was using various means to kill demonic beasts in the beast tide, furrowed her brows. Why did she always feel like she was being watched? At this time, she didn't know that her every move fell into the eyes of the old fellows from the 6 major sects and that she had also entered the list of priorities to pay attention to of the major sects and many elite teams in this competition space. Chapter 191, Trouble Was Coming. There were 6 men sitting in a principal room of an inn in a medium-sized city in the east. Before them knelt a yellow-clothed woman wearing a veil. "Your Royal Highness, that's the situation." Although the few of them were incompetent, but they were still members of the EC Empire. Those people killing them is equal to provoking the authority of the Empire. The yellow-clothed woman said with a slight sob. The hatred in her heart had practically corroded her entire being. Her proud, beautiful face was ruined by that woman's one poison pill. She must persuade the elite team of the EC Empire to take action, and then she would personally peel off that woman's face to make a human skin mask with. The man sitting in the central position was handsome and dressed in apricot yellow brocade clothes. With one glance, it was obvious he was a member of the royal family of a certain kingdom. He picked up the teacup and gently scraped the tea leaves in his cup with his lid. After a while, he slowly asked, "They're all dead, so how did you survive?" "That woman fed me a poison pill and wanted to torture me, so she didn't kill me." In order to convince the several people, her eyes were filled with cruelty, and she stretched out and took off the veil from her face. The several people couldn't help furrowing their brows when they saw the blue lines on her face. This face was completely ruined. Why did she only feed you a poison pill and kill the others? The person addressed as Your Royal Highness looked at the yellow-clothed woman with sharp eyes and continued, saying, "Tell me how you met and the process of why they were killed again. I want to hear the unbiased story, including the reason for feeding you the poison pill." He knew exactly what sort of disgusting manner the other team members had, and presumably it wasn't like what the yellow-clothed woman said just now, where they merely met, entered into a fight, and was killed. The yellow-clothed woman shuddered slightly, and after being overwhelmed by the man's gaze, she didn't dare to hide anything anymore and told the story from the very beginning. "That day we went to the inn in the refuge city to book." After finishing, 2 lines of tears streamed down and she choked, saying softly, "Your Royal Highness, this is all that happened. Qian'er didn't hide anything and doesn't dare deceive Your Royal Highness." If she had cried weakly and softly when was still more beautiful, then maybe it would arouse a slight heart of pity and tender care for Jade and the few people, but they just felt her disgusting with her current ugliness. "You leave first." Yi Zhao waved his hand and signaled for her to leave. The yellow-clothed woman was unwilling, but she also knew how ruthless His Royal Highness was beneath his usual gentleness, so she bowed tenderly and left the room. "Your Royal Highness, do you think she's telling the truth?" one of them asked. Yi Zhao took a sip of tea. "It's most likely true." Then he turned his eyes to the masked man in black sitting opposite and asked, "Che Jin, what do you think of it? After all, one of the people killed was your own younger brother. Although that kid is a good-for-nothing, and I also hate his temperament very much, but I can't tolerate other people killing him." The black-clothed masked man's eyes were tempered with a layer of cold light. "Of course I want revenge. They were brothers of the same mother." Even if he looked down on that younger brother, he was still unhappy when he heard the news of his death. "Sure. It's just a group of people from a small kingdom. When we meet, well, just kill them together." Yi Zhao smiled indifferently. While they were at it, they would also take the footwork and the body refining method from that woman to see if it were as powerful as what Huang Qian'er said. The sky in the due east rose with a gray dawn, and a trace of morning light broke out and scattered down. Lu Muyen and the others stepped into a medium-sized refuge city in the west in the morning splendor. They still chose an inn as their destination, took their room keys, and went back to their rooms to recover and rest. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. As soon as they stepped upstairs, a man in apricot-colored brocade clothes walked out of heaven room number 1 and just missed them. The moment Huang Qian'er turned her head, she saw a corner of light purple clothes and felt a familiar, but also unfamiliar, feeling in her heart. She was just about to walk over to take a look when she was called by Yi Zhao. She turned her head back in confusion and went downstairs. After leaving the city, Yi Zhao pointed to a looming mountain in the distance and said, "Let's go hunting in that mountain today." "Sure. When we return, we should be able to make it back before dark on second elder brother's flying demonic beast." A man who looked somewhat similar to Yi Zhao said with a smile. "Huang Qian'er, are you going hunting with us or staying in the city?" Yi Zhao asked. Huang Qian'er constantly felt uneasy ever since seeing the corner of light purple clothes and hurriedly replied softly, "I want to go hunting with your Royal Highness." At this time, her mind was no longer on earning points and her ranking. In her mind, besides revenge, there was still revenge. Although the few people were annoyed by her, but they let her follow because she was the only one who had seen the group of people from the small kingdom. After resting in the inn for a day, Lu Muyen opened her eyes when the light of the sunset enveloped the entire city. "Mo Yen, do you feel like we're being watched?" She always felt like someone was watching when she killed demonic beasts in the beast tide every night. Mo Yen pondered for a moment. "I always feel that there's something wrong. If we're being monitored, then it could only be the actions of the organizer who are using the arrays set up within this competition space to watch the movements of competitors." "There's such an array?" "Of course. There's a kind of array within an array called image reflection array, which can feed back what occurs in the places that are easier to monitor in this large array to the center of the array source, then project the groups of images in the array source to a special crystal wall. As such, you can see the actions of everyone in those places on the crystal wall." Mo Yen glanced at Lu Mu Yen in surprise. Wasn't this woman very knowledgeable about arrays? She didn't even know this. Lu Mu Yen was a master at playing with arrays, but the immortal cultivation world didn't have such an array of reflecting images. After hearing what Mo Yen said, she not only became interested in this image reflection array, but also had some theoretical guesses. Then, she shrugged helplessly and asked, "Then am I exposing too much? Just don't expose the purple gold spirit flame." Mo Yen thought for a bit and added, "You best increase the strength of the array used to conceal the aura of your natal magic tool and don't let others figure out that it's made of heavenly frost golden essence." These two things, not to mention on Tianling continent, even in the upper interface, were things that were contended for by powerhouses. Lu Mu Yan's strength was still very weak, and it wasn't suitable for her to expose it. That's my trump card, and I won't reveal it unless absolutely necessary." Lu Mu Yen nodded in agreement. Until the moment of life or death, she definitely must not use the purple gold spirit flame in this space. As for the seal on the heavenly frost golden essence, she had absolute confidence that others wouldn't be able to recognize it. But to be more cautious, she would add another layer of a seal tomorrow in the daytime. The one human, one beast talked a little more, and only when it was getting dark did they leave the room and join Yun Zmo and the others. They had already formed the habit of acting at night and resting in a city during the day. Every time they arrived at a refuge city, Lu Mu Yen would sweep up the spiritual herbs or useful spars in it. The main reason was that the consumption of spiritual replenishing pills was simply too high. She basically refined a pile every 3 or 4 days or so. They prepared to leave the city before night fell, but when they exited the city gate, they happened to encounter a group of people entering the city. Lu Mu Yen glanced at them casually and didn't recognize them. But when she saw a delicate woman in yellow clothes following behind that party, her eyes darkened, and she thought inwardly that trouble was coming. As expected, when the two teams passed by each other, the yellow-clothed woman suddenly pointed at Lu Mu Yen and said, "Your Royal Highness, it's them." "Your Royal Highness, it's them." The voice of the yellow-clothed woman fell, and the group of people all turned around and glanced at Lu Mu Yen and the others. Lu Mu Yen also guessed the identity of the other party. She raised an eyebrow, looked at the yellow-clothed woman and said with a smile, "Why are you wearing a veil? Do you have no face to see people with? You bitch." Huang Qian'er's face under the veil was hideous and ferocious, and the hatred in her eyes was undisguised. "Not as much of a bitch as you." Lu Mu Yen replied with a light smile. This woman's pill poison already developed 7 or 8 tenths. In another 3 days, she would gradually age and definitely die within 10 days. "You're the one who killed the other team of our EC Empire?" Yi Zhao walked up to Lu Mu Yen and looked her up and down, his eyes flashing with surprise at her beauty. What a pity. If it weren't for them being an enemy team, he could have brought this stunning-looking woman with a beautiful, attractive figure and outstanding temperament into his imperial harem. Lu Mu Yen furrowed his brows. This man's invasive gaze was really disgusting, so what if it's us? The overall strength of their team right now seemed to be lower than the opponents, but their means weren't necessarily inferior. They could even escape from a medium-sized beast tide. They wouldn't be afraid of the few people from an elite team of a medium-sized empire. Yi Zhao raised an eyebrow and a contemptuous smile appeared on his lips, indeed very savage, but a pity you won't live long. If you want to fight, then fight. Lu Mu Yan's eyes were cold. What an arrogant tone. Che Jin, who was standing behind Yi Zhao, took a step forward and stared at Lu Mu Yen with cold eyes fixedly. "Was my younger brother killed by you?" "Your younger brother? If you're talking about the leader of that team, then it was indeed I who killed him." Lu Mu Yen nodded irrefutably. So that bear bag also had an elder brother from an elite team. No wonder he was so arrogant before. Then today's battle was definitely unavoidable. Then pay it back with your life. Che Jin's voice was cold. With a flash, he appeared on Lu Mu Yan's left, raised his hand, and hit a palm wind towards her. Lu Mu Yen raised her eyes and glanced at him with ridicule. She used flash steps to disappear from her place as fast as a ghost. The palm wind with explosive power hit the black iron on the city wall, creating a crisp sound. Who is fighting in the city? If you want to fight, then go out of the city to fight, or you will be disqualified from the competition. A weathered, elderly voice suddenly sounded, and a powerful aura directly locked onto Che Jin and Lu Muyen. Che Jin wasn't successful with one palm strike, but he didn't dare act again after receiving a warning. He said with a grim look, "Let's go out of the city to settle our feud." Lu Muyen found that the scent of blood and his vicious aura was even worse than that of the tall, big man she had killed before. As expected from two brothers. She didn't say anything, glanced at him lightly, then flew out the city gate and looked at the few people from the open space outside the city with coldness. Yun Zmo and the others also flew out and landed next to Lu Muyen, each holding a long sword in their hands, looking prepared for battle. Based on today's situation, a fierce battle was inevitable. Since they're this eager, taking the initiative, then well, go play with them a bit. Make it a quick battle. Yi Zhao's tone was very casual, as if killing Lu Muyen was as easy as stepping on grasshoppers. The several people didn't reveal weakness, all drawing their swords and leaping out, picking a person each, and started to fight directly. At this time, the city wall was crowded with sword masters who watched. But they had long believed that Lu Muyen's side would probably fall tonight in this competition space. The elite team of the EC Empire had been in this city for more than 10 days. They went out to hunt during the day and returned at night to rest. They were very strong, and practically no one dared to provoke them. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Who knew that an unknown little team of people would dare to provoke them? They really didn't care for danger. Lu Muyen's opponent was still the masked man in black. The moment the man came up, it was a strike with a sword. The sword aura spread underground, shattering the earth, and the violent yellow sword aura rushed towards her face. The moment he acted, it was a killing move, and his desire to kill her was heavy. Quick! Lu Muyen's red lips parted lightly and the golden flying swords she nurtured in her body burst out, forming an arc in midair. Clang clang! The violent, surging sword aura fell on the golden arc and disappeared, as if swallowed up. Che Jin was surprised, and his face beneath the black cloth was even more grim. No wonder she was able to kill that younger brother of his. She indeed had some capabilities. He no longer hid his abilities as he kept forming seals in midair. Elemental energy channeled into the long sword in his hand bit by bit, and traces of spiritual force from the ground beneath him merged into his sword. Die! A dazzling yellow light swept up the soil on the ground, instantly turning it into sharp earth thorns, and a rumble sounded from beneath their feet. The man's heart was vicious and cold, and he never left future trouble, so he had developed the habit of whenever he acted, the opponent must die. This time, he also used his strongest among his sword skills. At this time, not only were the sword masters on the city wall watching the battle, but even the elders of the 6 major sects in the castle were staring at the crystal wall attentively. The warm expression on the handsome, white-clothed man that sat behind the elders didn't change, but there was a chill at the bottom of his eyes. If these people dared to touch a single hair on his little woman, he would wipe out their entire EC empire. Center of the battlefield. Countless earth thorns whirled madly over with flying sand and rocks. Lu Muyen estimated the opponent's strength in her mind, middle phase sword monarch cultivation base, and their earth elemental energy attribute was about to be cultivated until great achievement realm 1. Such strength could be ranked around the middle against everyone in the competition space, so he had the capital to be prideful. Unfortunately, he met her, so he was doomed to be unlucky. Lu Muyen stood indifferently in the air, standing on a circle of golden flying swords that formed a ring. She formed a few Taoist seals in front of her chest, then she raised her right hand and opened her palm. A few seeds fell, carried by the wind, landing right in front of her. An obscure and difficult spell emerged from her lips. She stepped on the golden ring and landed on the floor. Her left palm gently caressed the ground and a trace of spiritual energy carrying green mist spread downwards, instantly landing on the few seeds. The seeds germinated in an instant, and in just a few breaths of time, they grew into several heaven-reaching giant trees. The roots of the trees were deeply rooted into the soil, and the lush branches and leaves swayed constantly. The earth thorns that whirled up sand and stone, along with the sword aura, landed on the tree trunks that formed a row, but they couldn't advance at all. Break! Lu Mu Yan's eyes narrowed sharply. After the few giant trees waved their branches continuously to disintegrate the sword aura and earth thorns, they moved as if alive and immediately surrounded Che Jin within a range of only 10 meters. Wood inhibits earth. Wonderful, this little girl could actually use arrays to such a degree, truly a genius. The strong and muscular elderly man of the 8 Extremes sect stood up excitedly. You mean she's using an array right now? An elder from the 6 major sects asked, puzzled. The strong and sturdy old man nodded vigorously. The seeds are the source of the array that she has nurtured for a long time. As long as she uses the wood attribute elemental energy to grow it, then it can instantly become ginormous heaven-reaching trees. From the moment the opponent made the first attack, she had already set up the array. How do you know? Another asked. When the masked man made his first move, and when she discovered that his earth elemental energy element was near great achievement realm, her hands beneath her sleeves began to pinch seals, but you all just didn't notice. Then when she landed on the ground beneath the city wall first and waited, she was already arranging an array. When the masked man entered the battle area she arranged, it then became her main battlefield. He said with certainty in his tone, just wait, she can definitely toy that kid to death by using the wood inhibits earth principle of the 5 elements mutual inhibition principle. The strong and muscular elderly man said it excitedly, as if Lu Mu Yen was about to win. After listening to the words of the elder of the 8 Extremes sect, the elders of the other sects also had a realization. At this time, all the people present no longer underestimated Lu Mu Yen. This girl was so young but was actually so intelligent and mature. It was extremely rare among the younger generation and was indeed worth raising. The elder of the medicine sect looked at Lu Mu Yen with even fierier eyes. Although she used an array to control those seeds, but she definitely grew them with the wood attribute elemental energy. If she showed the talent of fire attribute elemental energy, then she must be an alchemist. She moved. The elder of the sword sect said with interest. The attention of the others was all on the crystal wall again. Lu Mu Yen controlled the grown tree seeds to surround the man. The tree seeds moved in the soil and the branches whipped the man like sharp weapons. He mobilized the elemental energy in his body to gather in his long sword, and yellowish-brown sword auras slashed down one after the other, but they were all blocked by the branches and vines. For some reason, the sword aura couldn't hurt these trees at all, as if they were innately inhibited. Just what did you do? Che Jin looked at Lu Mu Yen angrily. Lu Mu Yan's lips curled up. Haven't you ever heard of the principle of 5 elements mutual inhibition and enhancement? I'll explain to you using facts about the law that would inhibits earth, and you'll be able to die peacefully down in the 9 springs one. Her voice was clear and beautiful, pouring out slowly, but the words she uttered made one chill irresistibly. Die. Lu Mu Yen returned Che Jin's words back to him. And no one noticed that a few vines appeared on the branches and leaves of the heaven-reaching trees, accompanying the dancing branches, bounding Che Jin that had failed to dodge. Che Jin's eyes revealed some madness. Elemental energy poured out from his dantian, and he was ready to use his strongest trump card. Shwe shwe, hurry up, he's going to use his trump card. Lu Mu Yan's eyes were indifferent as she telepathically said to the human-eating blood thorn vine king. Shwe was just waiting for those words. This man dared to birth the desire of killing his owner. Then he'd suck his blood little by little, and let him die in fear. The dark thorns in the vines quickly stabbed into Che Jin's body, and the paralyzing venom instantly spread all over his body, causing his wildly surging elemental energy to suddenly stop. For the first time, there was panic in his eyes, and he wanted to shout to Yi Zhao and the others, but found that he couldn't even speak. Then his pupils constricted and the blood essence from his body was lost little by little, all of which was absorbed by the plant that bound him. An infinite fear was born in his heart and an aura of death enveloped him. In just a moment, Che Jin's eyes changed from panic to fear and finally to despair. When the last drop of blood essence in his body was sucked dry, his eyes were wide open, an expression mixed with fear and disbelief, dying completely without an aura left. Lu Mu Yen glanced coldly at the shriveled corpse. She naturally had no mercy for people who wanted to kill her. She waved her hand and the heaven-reaching trees withered and fell, finally turning into a few bright yellow seeds that fell back into her hands. No one noticed that one of the seeds was glowing with golden light. Shui was a Tier 6 demonic plant. Although he couldn't change shape, but he still had the means of camouflage. It was still very easy for him to change his golden vines to green and use the cover of the heaven-reaching trees. None of the sword masters present discovered his existence. This was also one of the reasons why Lu Mu Yen used the wood growth array she had raised for a long time to kill Che Jin. The blood essence of a human sword master was purer than that of a demonic beast and would be more beneficial to Shui Shui when absorbed. Since they were enemies that would not stop until one was dead, then naturally he should make a contribution and serve as nourishment for her demonic plant. She would never bully the weak and kill unrelated lives at will, but if others dared to take the initiative to have ideas about her, and acted with killing intent, then she would definitely never make them feel good. Seeing that after Che Jin was surrounded by a few huge trees, there was only a shriveled corpse left behind, Yi Zhao and the others revealed disbelief. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. How was this possible? Che Jin was at middle phase sword monarch strength, and he usually killed no less than a few thousand people. He had very rich combat experience, so how could he be killed by a woman who was only at peak phase sword king? The sword masters on the city wall also revealed a look as if they had seen a ghost. Just like this, the situation was reversed. What kind of skill did that woman use? It was actually this powerful. Demon woman too, what have you done? Yi Zhao turned to look at Lu Mu Yen sternly while fighting against Yun Zi Mo. Lu Mu Yen raised her brows. This was the first time someone actually called her demon woman. And that title didn't seem so bad. Wouldn't you know if you personally come to experience it yourself? She didn't plan on letting these people go at all. The invasive gaze that Yi Zhao looked at her with and the greed in those eyes, she saw it clearly. He probably also aimed at her footwork and her body refining method. It was normal for people to be greedy, but they'd be out of luck to have ideas about her things. She tossed the seeds that hadn't yet been put away in her palm forward, and after they landed, she used the wood attribute spiritual energy to grow them. In an instant, heaven-reaching huge trees emerged all around Yi Zhao one after another, their branches swaying ceaselessly. Yi Zhao's eyes revealed some contemplation, then he quickly retreated, but the big trees continued to follow as if alive. Remembering what Lu Mu Yen said about the 5-element mutual inhibition law, his eyes suddenly lit up and a sinister smile appeared. You killed Che Jin just now with the law of wood inhibiting earth, then I will let your trees taste the effect of metal attribute restraint. Yi Zhao let out a laugh, and a red gold token flew out of his hand. The palm-sized token suddenly grew larger in mid-air and traces of metal attribute emanated from it. The surrounding trees that were originally moving suddenly trembled slightly, and their roots that were deeply embedded into the soil could no longer move. Seeing that Yi Zhao suppressed Lu Mu Yan's skill, the other 4 heaved a sigh of relief. The sudden death of Che Jin just now gave them an unprecedented sense of fear. Your Royal Highness, tear her body into thousands of pieces to avenge Che Jin. A big man who usually had a good relationship with Che Jin shouted. The person he fought against was Lu Mu Bai, and his indifferent eyes were filled with chills. Go and accompany him. Little sister was his scale on a dragon that no one should touch 3, and once touched, they must die. After speaking, a palm-sized blood person escaped from his hand and instantly turned into a blood giant several feet tall, filled with a sense of oppression. The big man with strength of a middle-phase sword monarch was taken aback by this sudden blood giant. He didn't expect that this handsome, mild man could actually use the blood temple skill that had been lost for thousands of years. The blood giant's eyes were dark, like an endless void that could suck people in. After the big man met his eyes, he was dazed for a few breaths of time. The last thing one should do during a battle was to be distracted, so in those few breaths of time, a huge bloody hand with the power of destroying the heavens and earth slapped down heavily and instantly smacked the big man into the ground, his body deformed, and vomiting blood. And no one saw that a golden vine slipped out from under where the big man laid and stabbed directly into his heart. Blood was lost little by little and his aura of life also gradually disappeared. When the last drop of blood essence in his body was sucked dry, the vine retracted into the ground with satisfaction, as if it had never appeared before. Meanwhile, such a scene instantly stunned everyone present. Come True 19 Springs refers to the netherworld, basically death. There's probably a story behind it why it's the 9 springs, but not bothered searching it up. 2 Literally demon woman. It can also be taken to mean beautiful/seductive woman, but in this case, he's calling her a monster/demon for performing what he probably thinks is witchcraft, since what she did was just so unbelievable. 3 It's Nilin, which just means reversed scale or a scale that grew incorrectly. Figuratively, it's a scale on a dragon one cannot touch. It's also used to describe a person's weak point, like how LMY is like LMB's weak point, but not necessarily used with a negative connotation, and instead, in a more you touch, you die sense. Like someone touched your nerves. It's usually used in circumstances like Lu Mu Bays, and usually as a threat. For Gshue Chashu, the cha, when pronounced sha literally translates to break, like break on a car. But I am pretty sure it is meant to be pronounced cha here, which has to do with, like a Buddhist temple or shrine or something. Well, that'll be the set translation for now. That you're tuning in to the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.